shirt he's wearing. That's not
Chewy's.
No, it's not. The Mexican joint?
No, Chewy Classics.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No.
Scott says it says cherry.
Ah, cherry.
That is a random crew neck sweatshirt from Tom Brady.
Yeah, I thought it was...
I thought it was Chewy, the Mexican joint.
No, I thought...
It does look like the same font, especially that C right there.
I see cherry now, but I thought Chewy was in California was a place where you... How can I take this? Let me say it in the non-coolest way I can, but try to say cool. I thought that's where you take your whip to get them modified and put spinners on them and things like that.
What is the monogram above cherry here?
Yeah, I can't make that one out.
Is it Megan Maroney? Did he borrow Megan Maroney's sweatshirt?
Hey, she's got a new song out with Kenny Chesney that she wrote
Complete
for
banger,
him.
I'm sure, right?
They were on tour together, LT. They're just friends. And
I wouldn't think anything more from Kenny Chesney.
Yeah, Kenny said it was the only time anybody's ever written a song for him or about him or something. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And that's Trash Today, brought to you by
our friends at Bud Light.
Yeah, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Mike Tomlin ends up being the guy that pushed for the George Perkins trade. All the reports coming out. And they say it all started when... Pickens started getting all these unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. He got one in Cleveland, followed it up the next week with two unsportsmanlike against the Bengals, got fined against Dallas for having an obscenity on his eye black, and then had an unsportsmanlike conduct in the Dallas game after being fined for the obscenities on the eye black. So in that report right there, 1, 2, 3, 4 unsportsmanlike conduct personal foul penalties and one fine for obscenities, to which Tomlin, even at news conferences last year, was pleading he needs to grow up.
Okay, well, I don't know if he's watched DK Metcalf, but Metcalf is going to do the exact same stuff. And I was just wanting to see Metcalf and Pickens play together to see, heads explode.
Right.
But you went out and you paid Metcalf $30 million a year. I thought it was going to be a nice tandem. But now I think you've got a better opportunity with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. But Pickens has got to get it under control.
Do you think when players leave Pittsburgh, receivers, that they have better success or not better success when they leave?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Antonio Brown obviously had not even close to the success. Who are other receivers I'm looking for here?
Yeah, Adam Schefter has a big tweet out today that lists all the major receivers that have left Pittsburgh.
Was Santonio Holmes on that list?
Yeah, and none of them have had more success after leaving Pittsburgh.
Okay, but let's not forget that those receivers that Schefter probably listed played with Roethlisberger. They weren't playing with Mason Rudolph.
Great point.
So there is a big, big difference. And that's why if you're George Pickens, new setting, you can reset everything you're playing with, one of the better quarterbacks in football in Dak Prescott. So, this Pittsburgh offense is not going to be good.
All right. That's our NFL conversation today, and we've covered a lot of college football. The big story that we hopefully will be talking about in November is an Alabama game with St. John's coming up at Madison Square Garden. Boy, that's about as if I could pair up a game for Alabama next year that I'd want to see pre-conference on the schedule, that's about as great venue, great matchup as I'd want to see, because I just saw Alabama and Duke in the NCAA tournament, and unless you're going to Cameron Indoor.
And what's the date on that? November?
It'll be sometime in November.
Yeah. I mean, look, and the lights are already out in the city. I had an opportunity to go up there last year. If you've never done Christmas or around Christmas time in New York City, it is special. So that's a destination city. Alabama will travel well for that.
Yeah, a chance to get up there at Madison Square Garden to get that. Of course, the Garden right now going crazy over the Knicks. They won last night. They were up 2-0 on Boston. I did see the betting odds for the series pop up on ESPN here, LT, and now it's minus 110 on either side to win the series.
Okay, that shows me Boston's going to win the series. I thought it would be a little bit more. I said earlier, I think you could get back. I thought it would be like, at this point, Knicks minus 175, Boston plus 150, but minus 110 tells me they will definitely come back and win the series.
Business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com. Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
We've got some TV times ready. The triple header of SEC football for Black Friday laid out in kick times. We'll get to that coming up on the show. The possible tip date for Alabama St. John's and the problem that comes with that. A lot of NFL news as rookie camps open up today. But as we often do, at least in the last month and a half, we're going to open up the show talking about Bill Belichick's girlfriend and the story that Pablo Torre reported yesterday through he says, a source with the Belichick family who says that 24-year-old Jordan Hudson has been, air quote, banned from the North Carolina football facility. Reaction?
Well, I think, if this was any young coach, I don't know if it would be public. I think to make this public or for this thing to go public, I wonder where Bubba Cunningham is on Bill Belichick. I heard Rick Neuheisel talking about Bill Belichick and Bubba Cunningham, and he said Belichick wasn't his first choice.
Yeah, he wasn't. Remember, it was
a lot of the power boosters.
He was going John Summerall was the hot pick to be North Carolina's coach.
Yeah, and if this was Summerall in this situation, it would be easy for Bubba to go to him and say, hey, look, let's clean this up. We don't need the distraction. Belichick, probably a guy that pushes back. You talked about Julian Edelman talking about it on a podcast, or it was on Colin Cowherd's show. You know, he needs to practice what he preaches. This is so against type for Belichick. And Belichick is an ego guy. By this going public, I'm telling you, I'm not going to be surprised if he's not coaching first game.
You mean if he just decides, hey, you guys can have a Coke and a smile and walk away?
Yeah. Yeah, I would not be surprised. Now, the problem there is, like, who takes over this program? You know who the most likely guy would be?
Already on that coaching staff, right? Who?
Freddie Kitchens.
He's got an NFL head coaching season under his belt.
I mean, you know, he's the offense coordinator. He's a tight ends coach. Other head coaches on there, former head coaches, Garrick McGee, no thanks.
Yeah, wow.
The wide receivers coach.
Wow.
You know, you've got two Belichicks on that staff. Obviously, Michael Lombardi is your general manager. You know, this is just, I threw this out, I don't know, maybe it was last week where I was like, I think he would coach. There's a better chance of him not coaching than him coaching like 3 years there.
Pablo is a longtime ESPN reporter. He's part of Dan Le Batard's platform now, and he's the guy. It's been picked up by a number of sources now, but he's the guy that first reported that. And again, it was a Belichick family source he was using in his report there. You said his son is the defensive coordinator. I don't know if that would be him, his way to take over. Everyone believes that Belichick took this job basically to eventually turn this over to his son.
Probably, yeah, more than likely. I mean, how much time does he have left coaching, much less how much time on the earth? I mean, the guy's 73 years old.
Quick, easy way to give it to your son is to step away this late into the season and get him promoted up to being the head coach.
It wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
I think all the Belichicks would get blown out. I really do. Look, you got to keep some stability with that staff. This would be one of the weirder situations. Let's not forget, we were all there to cover Mike Price. What was it, back in 2002, 2001? No, 2003.
No, I think it's 2002 because I think it led to Mike Shula coaching that season.
Yeah, and so and that was in May, and it was really unprecedented. We had never seen, especially a major program like that. This is just a weird situation because Belichick, if he didn't coach another game, are we going to remember him more for this little saga than him winning all these championships with New England?
Well, that's the fear. That's what Pablo said. The family source told them the fear is within the family circle is that Bill is going to ruin his legacy with this at the end of his career.
Yeah, look, and everybody's talking, they're blaming this Jordan, the 24-year-old.
Right.
Like, you got to blame Belichick. It's his space, right? He's allowed her to come in and kind of take over everything.
If he's of sound mind, it's got to be on Belichick, and I assume he's of sound mind.
Yeah, wouldn't you think there's enough people around him that could tell if he's like completely gone off the reservation?
The thing I want to know right now is if, God forbid, if Belichick's car accidentally ran off the road tonight, and they all gathered together and read the will in 4 days.
Oh, she's a beneficiary.
Would she be in it?
I mean, at this point, I would say so, based on how much control she's got over his entire life.
But you know how that works. I mean, it takes a while to fill out the paperwork and change the will. How long have they been together?
You can do it quickly.
Well, I know, but you've got to decide you're going to do that. Then call your lawyers, get them to draw it up.
But I would think that Belichick probably has 5, 6, 7 life insurance policies. And all he's got to do is switch one. All you got to do is transfer the name. So, I mean, he could do this within days.
You know how it is in the movies where they sit around and the executor goes, and his 7 Super Bowl rings goes to Jordan Hudson. Miss Hudson, you'll get the rings. And somebody in the room is always upset about something. I wanted the ring.
It's not that I've got a lot of assets, it's morbid to think about this, but it's things you've got to do. So I just had to redo, a state will for everybody involved.
Right.
And you quickly can change these things.
Okay. Well, I know you can, but you got to think to do it. And
I'm sure she thought for him. Do you not think so?
At some point, he probably told another family member, "Hey, I'm going to rework some things in the will. Are you good with this and that?" And your first answer is going to be, "Well, Dad, why are you reworking something in the will?" Well,
first of all,
I got to slide Jordan in.
He's not going to tell him at all. I guarantee you she's had the conversation. Look, I love you. You're the love of my life. You're 73. I don't know what I'm going to do without you. I hope you're here for another 30 years. But if you're not, what am I going to do? You've got 5 or 6 insurance policies. How about flip one to me? And it's probably only like a $2 or $3 million policy. And she's already worth 8. Didn't we hear that?
Sounds like a Kanye West song.
Who do you think plays Bill Belichick in the FX series that they do eventually of his life falling apart this way? Because that's what FX does now. They take pro athlete figures and coaches and sensationalize.
There's a couple of actors that age into looking like Belichick, right?
Well, so who was Belichick in the Aaron Hernandez? I never watched it.
It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that, though.
I'll find it.
They're probably sitting back going, I got a chance to get a recurring role here now. This could be really good. But
to be Bill Belichick in 2 different projects?
Yeah.
That would be typecasting a little bit there.
Probably more likely we get the roast of Bill Belichick now on Netflix, the sequel to the Tom Brady roast.
Yeah, but I don't think that Belichick shows up, does he?
Yeah. I will tell you one of the worst 30 for 30s is the Al Davis one that has the AI generated Al Davis and Pete Rozelle, and they talk through the thing and they show them AI in the 30 for 30.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, it's on a rerun right now, occasionally on ESPN2 or U if you want to catch it. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Norbert Leo Butz played Bill Belichick in 7 episodes. I'm going to say that's not going to be your guy moving forward is Bill Belichick.
Doesn't sound like he did a lot of awards there. So that's a story to keep an eye on. LT thinks it could rise
John C. Reilly?
Ooh, that would be fun, except he's already been in the Lakers thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll have to think on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Tyler, if you'd like to punch us back up in studio here. There's Belichick. There's the guy who's playing him. I see what you're doing.
I didn't know Patrick Schwarzenegger played Tim Tebow. You remember the dumb older brother in White Lotus season 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He played Tim Tebow in this, I guess, ridiculous series on Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah. That didn't get critically acclaimed either. I got a couple of boom or bust for you, including Belichick. I'll give you a couple of those coming up after I remind you that Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys is a national firm with Southern roots, headquartered right here in Birmingham, Alabama. In 24 years, the firm has grown to over 150 lawyers, supported by over 500 dedicated team members. Their elite trial lawyers have recovered over $2 billion by maintaining Alexander's core values of integrity, mastery, passion, and success. Alexander's mission: create a firm that can handle any issue his community faced. And he did that. The firm now handles not only personal injury claim, but claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' comp, and a host of other claims. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer for anything, call Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Our buddy Alexander Shunnarah. Boom or bust? Belichick at North Carolina.
It's going to be a bust. I mean, too much distraction to begin. First of all, we don't know how good they're going to be. You're bringing in a transfer quarterback recently in Gio Lopez to run this offense. I don't know how much talent they've got. I think it would take them a little bit to kind of work through this, maybe a couple of years. I don't think that he's going to plan on being there a couple of years. I mean, now what you've got is this has become such a magnified story. If they were to go 5-7, 6-6, don't you think a lot of people would just want to cut bait? Like, is this really is it worth it?
Bill Walsh coached Stanford twice. A couple of times.
Yeah, John Robinson coached USC a couple of times. Bill Snyder coached Kansas State a couple of times.
And when they went back, it was never good.
Snyder's was.
The second time?
Yeah, because he ended up going, because it was our trip to Miami for Alabama and Notre Dame, because that Kansas State team, when he came back, was in a Fiesta Bowl. They were in the top 5. They would have been in the college football playoff.
It was 2012 when he had already come back?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, because I think Ron Prince was like 9-10. I'll check it, but yeah, it was.
It seemed like that was deeper into our time together that Snyder made the return. But I guess the coach there now has been there for a minute, so that probably times out pretty good. This Belichick thing looking weird, though. They are bringing in a lot of defensive talent through the portal. See if he can piece those things together. I'll let you find that. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more boom or bust for you here in our opening segment.
I've got it right here. So he left Kansas State in 2005 and then returned in 9.
Wow.
And in 11 they were 10-3, in 12 they were 11-2, and then 8-5, 9-4. He had another 9-4, another 8-5. I mean,
so about the same as it was before he left.
Yeah. I mean, just a lot of success.
Boom or bust? Will Wade, basketball coach at NC State. Boom or bust?
I think this is going to be a boom. I think NC State fans are starving. They got to a Final Four 2 years ago, and I think Will Wade is viewed as their best coach since
Jim Valvano?
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, just pure X's and O's guys. I mean, I think NC State fans are more excited about this than Mark Gottfried or Kevin Keats. So I think Will Wade's going to have a lot of success. He can coach. Now you can legally pay these guys. And I think NC State boosters are going to be 100% behind him. So I think it's a boom.
We just got word on Sean Miller's contract at Texas. Modest, to say the least. 6 years, $32 million for a guy with his brand going to a brand like Texas. Boom or bust, Sean Miller at Texas?
I think it's a boom. You know, the difficult thing here is Texas is obviously in the SEC and how difficult this conference has become in basketball. But Sean Miller at one particular time, and he's been tied in with Will Wade and, you know, the NCAA investigation when it came to the big-ass offer. And, who was the big for Arizona that he was the one and done just a couple of years ago, was the last big player for Sean Miller that all of the investigation came on. But Sean Miller for a time was viewed as the best active coach that had yet to go to a Final Four and had tremendous years. Arizona had him as a 1 seed, had him really, really close. Then he gets in that trouble. He goes to Xavier. It's kind of quiet, but he is viewed as a really, really good coach, and that's kind of one of those sleeping giant programs that has never busted through.
In the NFL, boom or bust for Vrabel back in New England, this time as the head coach?
I am going to – is there between a boom and a bust?
I don't know. I'll go to my thesaurus. Between a boom and a bust, Melton?
What about a B? Just the letter B.
That'll work, I guess.
Okay, how about boom, blah, or bust?
Oh, that's really good.
I think it's a little more than blah. So, like, Drake May is I think he's going to be a really, really, really good quarterback. Is he going to be Tom Brady? No. Does he have enough around him? No. I think Vrabel is going to have a competitive team that goes to the postseason every 2 or 3 years, but it's going to be nothing like when he was playing in New England.
That sounds blah to me.
I'm going more B or blah. I don't think it's going to be a complete bust. And, I don't think it's going to be a boom.
This should be the new segment, by the way. Boom, blah, or bust.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think I'll know where you're going to go with this, but Aaron Rodgers, when he eventually gets to Pittsburgh, boom or bust?
That's going to be a bust. It's going to be a bust just because he really doesn't have the weapons. Now, the good news is he's got a really good defense. Aaron Rodgers wasn't as bad as people thought last year. It was just an awful organization. Pittsburgh, really good organization. I just don't know what they've got talent-wise offensively. Defense, again, will be good. Maybe Aaron Rodgers makes them better, but I would lean more blah or bust.
Blah or bust. Well, you at least got it up to blah. I thought that would be just a straight bust there. George Pickens in Dallas, and before you answer, when they left Pittsburgh, these receivers' stats all went down. Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace, Santonio Holmes, Juju Smith-Schuster, Martavis Bryant, Chase Claypool. But I will give you that Gabe Davis stats went up.
To Buffalo, yeah.
And he just signed a big contract.
Gabe Davis was an unknown with Pittsburgh. But I brought this point up yesterday. That was with Ben Roethlisberger. And when you go from Roethlisberger, who was one of the greatest to ever do it, I mean, Roethlisberger, top 25 quarterback of all time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you go to a less than quarterback, it's going to be more difficult to put up the same amount of numbers. George Pickens going to play in Dallas, not only does it was a weird thing because I never thought Pickens was really a 1. I think he's a perfect 2. I think he's a great compliment to CeeDee Lamb, and he is playing with a borderline top 10 quarterback in Dak Prescott. So everything screams boom to me on this. And I hope it's a bust just because Cowboys are in the NFC, but I think it's going to be a boom. I think the offense is going to be really good.
Yeah. Last one, because I was throwing together, yesterday was my vote counting day. I got a few more to do tonight.
You survived, by the way. How was it?
It's good. It's good. It's always enjoyable to see how people are thinking about the upcoming college football season, which gets me to this boom or bust. SMU and the ACC, long-term, boom or bust?
I think it's a little bit below boom. I think it's above blah, maybe B+. I don't know. I would lean more boom just because of the resources they've got. But how long can they keep Rhett Lashley?
Some people think just one more year.
I mean, I think it's a really good job, don't you?
They've got the NIL money, and they're in a Power 4 conference now. That's better than some places.
Well, and they've shown that, you can lose an ACC championship game as SMU and still get to a college football playoff. There's a ton of money there. The ACC is so wide open. I think it's going to be boom. Would you lean boom on that?
I would not, because of it's just a misfit in that league. Every time I count the votes when I'm counting them on sheets by conference, and I always had to make sure there were 2 schools that I always had to double check that I got correct every time. One of them was SMU when I was counting the ACC votes, and the other was Oklahoma when I was counting the SEC votes.
Okay.
I had to go back and make sure that I had counted the SMU when I was counting the ACC teams. It's just easier for me to hand count these. Okay, if I got Lance's ballot up, I'm like, okay, all the SEC, and I write down the points on each one from Lance's ballot from the SEC. Then I go to my ACC sheet. And every time before I'd move on to the SEC, I'd go back and check, is Oklahoma there, and did I write it down correctly? And on the ACC, every time.
Let me ask you this.
I had to go SMU.
Did you see a lot of Oklahoma?
I don't want to give anything away.
Okay. Well, they should have been in everybody's top 40. Now, depending on how high you want them, all that kind of stuff, should have been in everybody's top 40. Back to SMU.
Real quickly, on the vote, I will tell you that here's what some inside stats that I will have for you off the ballots this year.
How many different number ones?
I'll always have that one for you. I will have this time however many number of ballots we end up turned in, And I did get one past the deadline one this morning that I am going to allow because I'm not through with the count yet. So if you haven't sent them in yet, go ahead and send them in. I'm letting it slide until I'm through counting. But I will also have, like, let's say we end up with 60 ballots. I will let you know how many ballots that they appeared on. Like they were on 58 of 60.
Okay.
Or they were on 30 of 60 ballots of the top 25. And I'll also give you the highest they were ranked and the lowest they were ranked. The most extremes on the ballots. Those are some inside the poll stats I'll give you this year.
Do you not agree that SMU would have an opportunity to own the state of Texas in the ACC?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, if you get the rejects from Texas A&M.
Yeah, but Texas A&M, and then all the other SEC teams go there. I mean, how many great players?
But did Nick
Saban go to Texas to get?
You know, back to that Minnesota, the 4-star athlete that was choosing between Alabama and PJ Fleck in Minnesota. I think SMU has enough money when it gets down to, okay, this was like our 8th priority in this recruiting class. I don't know if we've got another $100,000. I think that's when SMU will pay it.
That's some boom and bust there. Two things that happened on the field and court last night I want to talk about in this opening segment. And we'll get to the great Black Friday triple header coming up in the next segment. But our show today is being brought to you by our friends at Dr. B. Dr. B is the guy that's got LT's hair ready for the weekend.
I don't know what that was. Dr. B, best in the business, though.
Maggie did point out to me, because I was at one point counting votes at the pool yesterday, and I had not just earbuds in, but I had my big Bose Christmas gift headphones on. And so, I mean, they cut out every bit of sound. I mean, even when you put them on and it engages, it locks out. And before you even have anything playing, it is, what's it called, noise reduction? It sucks the noise.
So when you're using your circular saw to cut up your victims, you got those things
so
on?
It's just boom. The sound goes away. And then I start hitting music. And we were outside, had a cocktail, had the surprising sunshine yesterday. And so I had a little bit of that coconut oil smell on the suntan lotion. So I have a playlist that I just call Club La Vila from back in the day.
A lot of Huey Lewis and the News on there.
Well, it's got a lot of.
So how many people were poolside?
Just Maggie and me. At this point, thank God, because
I love when y'all spend the time together. You still got the noise reduction.
Well, she likes to read and doesn't like me talking to her. And if you guys watch this show, I talk a lot. So if we're just sitting there and we're not in the pool because the water's too cold and we're just laying out, I either got to listen to music or I got to talk. I'm not a silence guy. So I have the noise reduction going on.
What was the drink of choice?
We had a little tequila, lime juice, and a little salted rim.
Okay.
So, and ice.
Okay,
so
sounds good.
Tequila, melting ice, and a little lime juice. Almost like the one I get at your house with the limeade, but it's just straight lime juice. So apparently, 18 and Life to Go comes on. Skid Row, is that Skid Row?
Yeah, Sebastian Bach.
18 and Life to Go comes on. And at some point, unknowingly, as I'm counting votes, I start singing 18 and Life to Go. And she taps me and says, "Hey, you're singing out loud." So later on, another big hair band ballad comes on. Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Now, vocally, I can't hit those notes, but apparently, unbeknownst to me and the tequila, it started to emanate from my soul, and I was singing out loud. And she actually got up out of the chair, removed my headphones, and said, "You're singing out loud. I don't know if you even know it or not. And if you know me, I cannot sing. You guys hear me try to even hit a note or two on the show. I am horrible at it." And she said, "You were like almost screaming, 'Every Rose Has Its Thorn.'"
Does it hurt your soul that you love music so much and you can't contribute to the actual music scene?
It does. It does. I mean, I think we've discussed it on the show before, LT. I don't know what,
It would be painful if Dunaway, one of two things, had good physique because he'd always be shirtless.
Yeah.
And if he could sing, he would always sing.
We debated on the show. I would settle for just being able to play the guitar and not sing, just to be able to play a guitar along with somebody who could sing. But I can't do that. But the being able to sing, athletic ability, being able to sing. We've talked about on our show before, one thing we would trade out of our skill set for another, and I think singing would be it for me.
You know what's interesting to me is typically people that can't sing don't sing unless they're singing by themselves or in the shower. But people that can't play guitar still try to play guitar.
Everybody will pick up a guitar in passing.
Like my older brother, I called him the other night randomly a couple of nights ago, and I was talking. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just sitting here playing guitar." And I was like, "Are you still awful?" Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, but I still try." And he plays all the time, and I'm like, I don't understand it. Like, I don't sing because I can't sing, and if I try to play guitar and I can't play guitar, I'm not going to play guitar.
Wait, you don't sing? You sing on stage.
No, I don't.
At the Floribama. Every time we're there.
That was like first of all, it started as kind of a gimmick where they kind of baited me into it. And then once Big Earl would see me, he would just pull me back up.
You should go on a motivational speaking tour. You suck, give up. That would work. Change lives.
Yeah, it'd be a great T-shirt.
No, but I mean, I think some people do need to recognize, I think their shortcomings. I don't think there's anything wrong with telling somebody, hey, look, I'm all about your dedication and your determination, but this isn't for you. Let's actually focus and let's direct that towards something else with that energy.
And I don't even want to sing to win the voice. I don't want to be that good.
That's not going to happen anyway.
I just want to be able to sing to where
you can lure a girl to a park.
No, if we were just all riding down the road to the Floribama and a song came on the radio and the entire car started singing Tiny Dancer, like Almost Famous, that I could sing along with a group. Like right now, if I was in that scene of Almost Famous, I would have to lip sync and act like I was having a good time with the group because I sing so horribly.
No, if you got a bus full of people singing, you can still chime in.
I cannot. I'm that bad that I can't.
So what do you do in church when Maggie's about to take
I lip sync.
Okay.
I've had people tell me before to not make a noise in church.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah. Because I'm that bad of a singer.
Now, back to the shirt off. Have you ever had somebody come over when you're cutting grass and say, hey, will you please put your shirt back on?
No. But it's been a while since I've cut
So what's
grass.
more offensive, telling people to stop their singing because they're bad, or hey, put your shirt back on, you're scaring the neighborhood kids?
Put your shirt back on would be more offensive to me. Stop singing. Yeah. I've had that happen.
One of those gets the cops called on you. The other one does not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just I'd love to be able to sing just a little bit.
You'd also like good hair, right?
I would.
Dr. B, back to him. How long was that transition to that spot?
4 minutes and 47 seconds.
T3hair.net. That is the website where you can check out more information on Dr. Beckenstein and his great staff. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use his experience, advanced training, genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Write the number down, 205-319-0316. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. T3's got that new test. It's easy, painless, affordable, takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. Men and women ordering Hims, other products online, don't even know if they work. Stop wasting your money and critical time when you're losing your hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Go to Dr. B and that great staff. Find out what will work for you. 205-319-0316 or T3hair.net.
Brownie, as you see in the video there, if you're watching on our video platform, off today, off again on Monday, back with us on Tuesday when we start our 40 and 40 countdown. Couple of things went on last night. Hey, Tyler, can you give me the Auburn baseball graphic from our friend Chris Marler, Vern Funquist, who does a lot of graphics on social media? Auburn beat South Carolina in an SEC baseball game last night, 24-2. I told you to watch this game on ESPN2 last night. And then Vern Funquist puts this out there last night, 24 runs for Auburn. The last 2 times Auburn and South Carolina have played in football, they have scored 22 points in 2021 and 17 points in 2020. The baseball team outscored the football team in baseball last night over the last 2 meetings when it was Auburn and South Carolina in football.
Wow. Well, look, you never see a 24 spot in baseball.
It's actually the most
very randomly
most runs in an SEC game since 1965 for Auburn.
Oh, for Auburn. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, you go back to the Gorilla Ball with LSU. I guarantee you some of those SEC matchups, they put 20-plus up on some people.
20 hits, 10 of those extra base hits for Auburn, who's number 8 in the country coming in. Alabama's improved. A lot of the SEC teams are good. Auburn's on a streak of winning a series dating back to last year, the longest streak. They've won 8 of the last 10, better than anybody else, and on their way to doubleheader today to wrap up the series with South Carolina. Butch's team down at Auburn could be peaking at the right time. And we also saw last night the Steph Curry-less Golden State Warriors get beat by Minnesota 117-93. Anthony Edwards got hurt in that one, but they survived and they dodged a bullet, it looks like.
Well, so, they were, and we did have the T-Wolves last night minus the 10.5 against a Steph-less Golden State team. So when he goes out in the second quarter, and you got to go back to Game 4 of the opening series against the Lakers where he hurt that left ankle, so he re-aggravates it. He comes out, but, one of your former favorite players and a former Laker and Nick, Julius Randle, really stepped up in the second quarter.
I remember the day he was leaving the Lakers, you said, I don't like losing him. That guy's going to be good.
I remember when he got drafted, out of Kentucky, I was like, this guy's going to be a stud, and he's been really good numbers-wise. He just hadn't been able to stick anywhere. But he really played a great second quarter, and then when Anthony Edwards came back in after icing at halftime, he played really well in the second half. That was one of those games that was always like 12 to 15 points they led. Ended up winning the game by 24. Game they had to have after going down 0-1 at home.
Cavs and Pacers tonight, 6:30. Pacers lead the series 2-0, and they're at home. And OKC in Denver, 9 o'clock on ESPN. 6:30, 9 o'clock on ESPN for the doubleheader in the NBA tonight. If you're wondering about the Knicks, they host the Celtics Saturday afternoon. Weird tip time.
2:30.
2:30 on ABC.
Have you seen the ticket prices? Because we talked about it. Like after they won that second game, a lot of Knicks fans want to go to MSG. They want to see some playoff basketball. But they haven't seen really meaningful playoff basketball since maybe 1999 when they were in the finals against San Antonio.
So it's New York City. That's it ups the value anyway. But what is the ticket price?
The worst ticket in the house right now is $611.
Wow.
The most expensive ticket available is $27,000.
Wow.
Yeah, brokers are saying this is Super Bowl-like.
Yeah. Home opener for the Yankees, or the first Saturday for the Yankees when I went, fourth deck, about midway up the fourth deck, was $73 get in. And that was for Game 2 homestand of the opening weekend series for the Yankees. So everything's a little up in New York, but $611 get in for a Game 3 of a second-round NBA series.
Yeah.
That's a hefty price.
I'd rather sit at McSorley's and drink a dark ale and watch them.
When we come back, we got some kick times for the Black Friday triple header of SEC games, likely either all on ABC or ESPN, but we've got the kick times. We'll react to that and talk a little bit more college football, all going on here on the show that's being brought to you today by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Your chance to hop in and get a full checkup and then stay on top of your health. It's an opportunity to learn more about prostate health and what that means to you, prostate cancer, and kidney stones and everything in between. Plus, you get the opportunity when you get to that point in life of vasectomy if you need that, and everything else when it comes to your urological tract. It's our friends right there at Urology Centers of Alabama. 16 locations, 205-930-0920, urologycentersalabama.com. And our friends at Hemphill Services, they bring you Lance's Lock every day. Go to lanceslock.com, lanceslock.com, and check out his plays tonight in the NBA. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or your business, our friends at Hemphill will take care of you. They're ready to serve you. They're the name Birmingham has trusted since the 1950s. 205-229-2090. And right now, special discount on a checkup of your cooling system before we get deep into the hot temperatures of summer. Again, if it's not running right, flowing right, or draining right, call that number, 205-229-2090, or just remember the name Hemphill.
Follow LT on Twitter @TheLanceTaylor.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new Chicken and Bowberry Waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a Bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try Chicken and Bowberry Waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, back with you on the Next Round. Tyler is about to give us not only the college football Black Friday graphics in a second, but he's going to do our viewing menu first. It's brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. What Tyler is watching tonight, this weekend. And before we get out of the segment, let us know what was the best thing in the mystery box from yesterday on the Meltdown. You can go back and watch.
And I want to ask Melton if he's watching this show that I'm watching on Netflix, but we'll get to that in a second. But to view life in high definition, you need to go see Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson. I'm speaking from experience. I wore the contacts for about a decade. I was wasting money each and every year on the contacts and solution. Finally went in 2003, got the procedure done. 2015 vision, still better than 2020. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have zero to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, tonight we got a sort of generic-looking action movie called Shadow Force. An estranged couple with a bounty on their heads must go on the run with their son to avoid their former employer, a unit of shadow ops that has been sent to kill them, and it stars Kerry Washington. It looks like a straight-to-streaming movie, but they're charging admission for it.
You should write the endorsements for these things.
I really should. Moving on, they got a new Netflix movie starring Vince Vaughn called Nanas. After losing his beloved mother, a man risks everything to honor her by opening an Italian restaurant with actual Nanas, grandmothers, as the chefs.
Yeah, that's on Netflix, right?
What's that?
That's on Netflix?
Yeah, that's on Netflix.
Yeah, the last Netflix, random Vince Vaughn movie I tried to watch was a movie called Brawl in Cell 99.
Wasn't a Netflix movie, but yeah, it's supposed to be a B movie, prison movie. You crap on this movie all the time. It's really not that bad.
He's in a firefight, and the dude runs and does a front flip into water.
It's supposed to be sort of over the top midnight movie sort of vibe. That's what it's supposed to be. It's intended to be that.
Okay, well maybe I need to take a second edible and go back after that.
You'd enjoy it.
So Nanas has Vince Vaughn, Susan Sarandon, Lorraine Bracco, Talia Shire, Andrea De Matteo. So a lot of Sopranos representation in the cast. And then moving on, the final thing I've got is Amazon Prime this month has added all of Lord of the Rings. So you could spend the whole weekend going through the series.
Oh, that sounds like a plan right there. Weather's going to be bad. I was supposed to go to the lake. I'm going to stay home. I might as well watch Lord of the Rings all weekend.
Got to watch the extended editions.
LT asked Melton his question. What was the best thing in the mystery box yesterday on the Meltdown live every day at 2 o'clock?
I'll give you best and worst. The best thing was the first thing we pulled. It was the Sean Connery 007 collection, Volume 1. We'd already pulled Volume 2, so now I have the complete collection on physical media. The worst thing we pulled was Marley and Me, which we destroyed on air. And we hate that movie because it was marketed as this feel-good comedy, and Marley and Me is one of the saddest movies in the history of humanity.
Yeah, I've heard that. I kind of knew going in, anytime there's a dog involved, typically it ends bad.
Yeah.
And I don't like that, so I never saw it.
Owen Wilson, Jennifer Aniston, it looks like it's going to be one of those really fun movies to go watch and sit down, and it was not.
One of the best dog movies, Dog, with Channing Tatum.
I haven't seen it. It came out a couple of years ago.
I saw it at the theater. I thought it was really, really well done, and then I watched it again when it
It's been out long enough. Is it a sad movie, or is it like a feel-good movie?
It is well worth the watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so then it's a sad movie.
Not a boom or a bust.
No, I don't want to give anything away. Now, it's a lot of PTSD.
Okay.
So it's got some really good current things that are going on and how people are dealing with them and stuff. I just thought it was really well done. Eat or Not, I asked Tyler about it. Are you watching it? Sci-Fi Argentina series?
I have not watched it.
6 episodes. It is the highest rated Netflix show currently in 14 countries, including the U.S., but they've already renewed it for season 2. It isn't great, but I'm stuck on it. I don't know. It's good, and they compare it to The Last of Us, but it just doesn't hit like that. But it's good.
Okay.
I was just wondering, it seems like it's kind of in your genre.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Tina Fey and Steve Carell paid tribute to Alan Alda's movie, The Four Seasons, with a short-run series. I think it's 8 episodes, maybe 9 episodes.
I was going to watch it because Four Seasons is one of those movies I used to watch on HBO when I was a small kid.
Yeah.
And, because HBO used to have 4 movies and they'd run them over and over again. So I saw Four Seasons probably 10 times as a kid.
I watched it all in 2 nights.
Good.
It's if you've seen Four Seasons, it pays tribute to that. It's the same premise. It wasn't great. I'd give it a 78.
4 couples.
1, 2, 3, 4 couples.
So one dude probably leaves wife, goes younger girlfriend,
just like Four Seasons,
throws everything out of whack.
Yeah, and Alan Alda makes a cameo in it. Is he? I don't know if he's passed or not passed yet.
He's hanging on, I think.
Alan Alda, I believe, is still alive. Yeah.
Very close.
And great actor. And, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, once he got to MASH, I think he could have done a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Alan Alda is still alive. Celebrated his 89th birthday back in January.
I was going to say 91.
And when you see his cameo, he looks every bit the age.
I think Tina Fey wrote, or maybe most or all the episodes.
Tina Fey and Steve Carell does a wonderful job acting in it. And I will tell you, he is so good.
The Domingo Coleman guy's in it, which he's really blown up.
The Steve Carell's role in The Morning Show on Apple TV was so believable, the way he acted that and the way that show played out, that I caught myself saying to Maggie.
You mean his Matt Lauer?
Yeah. But I caught myself to Maggie. I said, this is Steve Carell's first big role since he got canceled. And then I was like, oh, wait, he didn't get canceled?
No.
His character did on The Morning Show.
That's funny.
No, that's high praise right there. A big compliment.
But I had to think to myself, wait, he didn't do all those things.
Because let's be honest, when you were watching it, Jim, you're like, could this happen to me? You're watching this, you're like, could this happen?
I knew it was Matt Lauer. I knew who it was, allegedly. All right, that's what everyone is watching this weekend, brought to you by our friends at Michelson. The show also being brought to you by our friends at Odie's.
Odie's Tavern, great place to watch NBA postseason action this weekend and every Friday, Saturday. Don't forget live music, both locations, the original and Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. Fantastic food at both from our man Rodney Davis from the award-winning wings. Great burgers, fantastic sandwiches, like the Diablo sandwich. I don't know if I told you this, Dunaway. We were in there with clients on Wednesday night, and Brown starts hyping up the Diablo sandwich. Everyone at the table got a Diablo sandwich.
Oh, did they? They like it?
Everybody loved it. Only one ate it with both hands. Everybody else was knife and fork. Have you ever had it, Melton?
I have not.
It's the Conecuh sausage with their spicy slaw on the top. Open face, so good. But everybody absolutely loved it. Get one of those this weekend. The ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light, the Odie's famous styrofoam cup cocktails. Stop in, see Will Haver and that great staff. Birmingham Institution, Odie's Tavern.
All right, so Black Friday, we've got a triple header involving SEC teams. First one out of the gate on Black Friday at 11 o'clock is the 98th playing of the Egg Bowl. We'll get Ole Miss at Mississippi State, 11 a.m. Central Time over at Davis-Wade Stadium. No longer on Thanksgiving night. NFL sort of has taken over Thanksgiving night, so you move the Egg Bowl to Black Friday, 11 a.m. In between this game and the next graphic, Tyler, we've got Georgia Tech, which will be 2:30 on Black Friday. And then at night, in a game that both athletic directors say yesterday they want it to stay on Friday, and Friday night, 6:30, Texas playing host to Texas A&M, 6:30 Central Time in Austin this year, last year in College Station. They played more times than not on Thanksgiving night, but both Trev Alberts and Chris Del Conte say the NFL has taken over all of Thanksgiving, and we have played 4 or 5 games on Black Friday. We would like this to become our permanent home now.
You know, ironically, I was on, with Chip Brown talking Texas football yesterday when this news broke around 2:45 yesterday afternoon, and he was like, "Do you like this game prime time?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." Like, the only thing that was wrong with the game last year was Texas A&M didn't show up.
That's right, but it was prime time on a Saturday.
It was, but the Black Friday, because as you said, the NFL has taken over Thanksgiving, and I really don't. I kind of like having a college option on Thanksgiving night, but I'm all about college football owning Black Friday. Black Friday's always been a great day because, we typically have to work, but then we watch games all day after that.
Yeah, like at a place like our friends at Walk-On. So
I think Iowa, Nebraska always kicked off Black Friday at 11 o'clock for us.
I think I know we got Arizona State that day, but a triple header, likely on the same network of SEC teams. And 2 of those SEC games starting at 11 with the Egg Bowl, then Georgia Tech, good old-fashioned hate, and then Texas A&M and Texas down in Austin in prime time. All that coming up on Black Friday. Later on this summer, more kick time releases, but I thought that was an interesting one when it comes to SEC fans out there. That look at kick times brought to you by our friends at Bojangles there. At kick times to bow time, from sweet to heat, Bojangles has 7 sauces that will definitely add a little extra flavor to every bite, and nothing pairs better with their sauces than their hand-breaded tenders. So if you're looking for sweet, you can try the honey mustard or add a little tang with the barbecue. Or if you're looking for something heat and creamy, how about the creamy buffalo? Or something sweet, how about the peach honey pepper? And they've got jalapeno ranch and so much more. So head to Bojangles and order some hand-breaded tenders with your favorite sauce today. It's bow time with our friends at Bojangles. College football also. We got a list yesterday of all-time winning percentages, and Tyler has 2 graphics here. And this was put out by our friends at CBS Sports and others. The first slate here, I want you to look at this and tell me if anybody surprises you, LT. These are college football's greatest programs by all-time winning percentage, our friends at CBS Sports. Ohio State now 2 percentage points, or actually 2/100ths of a percentage point ahead of Alabama. Very close. Then Michigan, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Texas, USC, Penn State in the top 8. Anybody there surprise you?
No, not really. I mean, and that's pretty impressive because basically what you're doing is over the history of your program, you're averaging a 9-3.
That's right. That's right. So the history of your program. So that's an impressive run there. Next page, I will ask you, do any of these, this takes you through the top 15.
I bet Boise's got a higher percentage than any of them.
Boise doesn't show up on this, I don't think.
Unless they got absolutely crushed their first couple of years when they transitioned to D1.
They may be just counting D1 wins. There may be a minimum there, but Nebraska is there 9th, Tennessee 10th, Georgia 11th, Florida State 12th, LSU 13, Miami, and then Florida and Clemson tied at 15. Anybody surprising you that they're on the list or not on the list in the top 15?
When you look
obviously no Auburn is not
all
there.
The Florida teams, if they would have had, more tradition back in the day, they would probably be on that front page. But kind of weird because once they started dominating, they all had down years after that. Georgia needs to win or lose a game, though, I'll tell you that.
What do you mean they need to win or lose a game, Georgia?
They need to get off that percentage.
Yeah. Oh, 666. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, they'll win one or lose one soon.
None of those are really surprising. I mean, how much steam has Nebraska lost though over the last 20 years?
That's right. That they've fallen off the front page to the second page.
They based on how bad they've been the last couple of decades, maybe they were at one point were they the all-time winningest program percentage-wise?
I don't know. I think at one point probably Oklahoma was up there.
Maybe.
Yeah. Before we got to probably the 80s. And they started to drop down. Notre Dame always going to be up there. There's probably a time Army and Navy were both on there. Interesting back to our 40 and 40 vote, which starts on Tuesday, how many of our voters have no group of 5 in their top 25?
So I only had 3.
You had 3 though?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, one has been. If you've got any, one has been about the max. There's one other guy that had 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
you've
sure
got 3 G5s.
I'm sure everybody defers to Boise based on the success. Now, Boise without Ashton Genty is going to be a little bit better. Maddox Madsen's coming back at quarterback. I still think Boise's going to be really good. They were one of the 3 that I had, but I've got both military academies.
In your top 25?
I do, yeah. No, top 40.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I've got 2 in the top 25 though.
Okay, this top 25 is what I asked.
Sorry.
Our folks to turn in there. 40 I'll take, but I'll only use the top 25.
I wasn't supposed to do 40?
No, just 25.
Damn. How about me going the extra mile? Did you not notice that?
I have not opened yours yet.
Okay.
I moved it into the save file.
You got 40 to look forward to.
Yeah. I'll glance at 26 through 40.
Has anybody done 40?
One other guy
did.
Okay. One other guy
We're the
did.
dummies.
Yeah, one other guy did.
I mean, 40 and 40 is 40.
It is. But to make out the 40, it's the others receiving votes. It gets down to 40.
I get it now, but you got a full 40 for me.
Yeah. All right. One more thing to get to in this segment. Hopefully Fuhrman at the top of the hour. But the show being brought to you today by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. That's our buddy Greg from Pell City. It's a big date on the calendar for rookies, rookie camp opening up, and I'm going to ask LT about 4 franchises quarterback battles, but I'll tell you, Greg from Pell City helps you beat the battle against the weather on your roof right now. He'll get on that roof and give you just a checkup when it comes to the state of your roof up there, your shingles and everything else that goes on up there, water entry points, anything around vents and valves and all that. He checks it all out for you. Free, no cost, no obligation roof inspection from Greg from Pell City in Storm Restoration Roofing. 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, or look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. Insurance companies and providers, they trust him. He has a great relationship with them. He also understands the rules really, really well, so he can help explain the new rules when it comes to claims for your roof in a really understandable way. Down-home guy, locally owned for over 20 years, family in the area. He's not going anywhere. That just means so much. He can be the last roofer you ever need for your home because he's going to be doing it for a long, long time, and then his kids are going to take over. Storm Restoration Roofing. Full roof replacements and so much more. 205-542-3531 or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. Rookie camps opening up today. 4 quarterback battles. Tell me who ends up winning this and starting most games this year. New York Giants, interesting quarterback battle. Jackson Dart's the rookie. Russell Wilson is there. So too is Jameis Winston. Who ends up starting more games for the Giants this year as they open up rookie camp today?
Russell Wilson. Now, Brian Dable's in an interesting situation because, winning a playoff game 2 years ago and with Daniel Jones, and now he is on the hottest of hot seats. A lot of people didn't think he would survive last year. He goes out and he drafts quarterback of the future, at least who they believe that guy is going to be in Jackson Dart. I don't know how you feel on this. I never view Jackson Dart as a franchise quarterback. I'm pulling for the guy. But I think Russell Wilson will be your guy. But if things go bad with Russ, Dable could panic. But I would say Russell Wilson right now. I feel pretty good about that.
Getting to see the uniforms on the field this weekend for these rookie camps always excites me. In New Orleans, we will find out likely this weekend whether or not Derek Carr is going to end up having to shut down the season for shoulder surgery. Tyler Shuck, obviously a guy who is going to benefit from that. If Carr can't go, Shuck is just about your only other option.
I think Shuck is going to end up being the guy. They're paying Carr a lot of money, but when he tried to throw at full speed in the offseason, it just didn't feel right, and so he's not able to throw at full velocity. He doesn't want to have surgery on that throwing arm, but I think ultimately they're going to have to shut him down, and I think Shuck's going to be the guy, and that's going to be fascinating to watch because Shuck can't stay healthy at the college ranks.
2 real battles in these other places. One of them is Indianapolis, where Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson will start their battle to see who's the quarterback of the Colts.
I think they feel like they've got much more of an investment in Anthony Richardson because drafting him 4th overall a couple of years ago, there's times when you're like, damn, I see why they drafted him at number 4. And then there's other times where you believe he's going to be one of the bigger busts in NFL history. Daniel Jones, we've seen him have a really good year. Again, I mentioned Brian Dable in New York winning that playoff game against Minnesota a couple of years ago. I think this is – and for Shane Steichen to try to figure out it would be difficult not to rotate these guys all the time because I think both are so inconsistent. Just to be able to stick with one of those guys, right. I think it's going to be Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I'll take Daniel Jones on the other side of that with the most starts this year. Feel like they went to get him for a reason. And then, of course, the circus begins in Cleveland, where you've got not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 guys who are going to battle for the starting job. That includes the drafted rookies, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. And this will be a circus, even at rookie camp, to watch Shedeur Sanders move into a very crowded quarterback race.
Well, either Pickett or Flacco is going to be released. And, I think Flacco is probably the better option, but based on where the contracts are, I've got a feeling that Pickett's going to start the season, and I think Shedeur will end the season.
So Pickett starts it, Shedeur ends it.
Yeah, and I will say ultimately Shedeur has more starts.
Yeah, so rookie camps, keep an eye on that. If you're an NFL fan, your favorite team getting out there and putting on the helmet and the jerseys and doing a little off-season work. One note about broadcast of NFL, YouTube TV, we should get an announcement that they're going to get an NFL game sometime in the next 10 to 14 days. And unlike Amazon and Netflix, according to everybody inside the industry, you will not have to have a subscription to YouTube TV to watch that game. It'll just pop up available on your YouTube, and you'll be able to watch the game when that one NFL off game happens. When we come back, Todd Fuhrman joins the show from Vegas. Gutter Cap is taking care of your home. Get those gutters clean one last time and then cap them forever.
Yeah, 205-823-2212. Dirty, dangerous job. Spring weather is here. The last thing you want to do when you're doing your spring cleaning is get up on the roof to clean the gutters out. You slip, you fall, you snap the neck and die. No good to the wife or kids. Cap it, don't snap it. Right now, an incredible deal from our man Chris Stewart. He will come out, give you an absolutely free estimate. Very important. Mention the next round, 205-823-2212 or guttercapbham.com.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the refreshed collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
There's no off-season at CoverCrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at CoverCrimson.com. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, hour number 2 of the show. Let's bring in Todd Fuhrman. He's the co-founder and host of the Bet the Board podcast. You see him everywhere, and he's a wonderful friend of ours who joins our show even in the slowest of times to talk about everything going on in Las Vegas. Fuhrman, welcome back to the show. I'll start off by asking you about Aaron Judge and the pace he is on right now. What kind of plays can I play in Vegas on Aaron Judge and the season he's having to back up last year's MVP type season?
Right now, Dunaway, he is a massive favorite. I know we've talked about it already this season. He was as much as minus $6 in the betting market a few weeks ago, meaning put up $6 to make $1 coming back. That number has ballooned north of 10. So if you look at some of the numbers and the way that odds makers are approaching his campaign, it seems to be only injury that could be capable of derailing Judge from taking home a bit of individual hardware. Now, if you believe he's going to keep up this Herculean pace, a Triple Crown price will get you less than 2-1, which is borderline astronomical given how dominant he's been. And if you think that somehow Aaron Judge can hit over 400 when we get to the All-Star break in mid-July, that's where things get a little bit more interesting. Not endorsing a bet, but 30-1, a much more advantageous payout than what you can get in a lot of the other markets at this point.
Okay, Fuhrman, let's jump to the whacked-out NBA. I don't know where you are on this because I know a couple of weeks ago you were like, hey, I give you a lot of credit for trying to handicap these regular season games. I was like, hey,
I should have said that about the playoffs, LT. I should have given you credit for handicapping these games.
Right. And that's where I was going to, start here. Like, I don't think anybody's seen anything like this, but when you get a Celtics team that is in a must-win situation, I felt Dunaway agreed it was kind of easy money the other night. Now, I will say I did have the Thunder, so I split there, but both home double-digit favorites seem like mortal locks, and the Celtics had it going into the fourth quarter for them to completely blow it. I mean, what is going on with the sports book? Is the public right now getting the better of the sports books when it comes to the NBA postseason?
So in the social media era, you'll see some of these money line tickets circulate, but from a sportsbook perspective, anytime you're getting a lot of these big favorites that not only fail to cover, but to lose outright, it is a great scenario for the house. Because as you know all too well, LT, people walk to the window, they see 7, 8, 9, 10-point favorites. They go, you know what? We're just going to parlay 3 or 4 of them. We're going to parlay series prices. Because we have seen the NBA be so top-heavy over the last 5, 10, 15 years, that you figure the chalk will always rise to the top. Lo and behold, here we are. You mentioned the Celtics blowing a 20-point lead for the second consecutive game, a rather surprising result. And then maybe even more surprising than that, it was the Cleveland Cavaliers leading by 7 with under 50 seconds to go. And here come the Indiana Pacers barnstorming through the back door, I guess in that case the front door, to cover and win that game outright. So it has definitely been a topsy-turvy second round of the NBA playoffs. From an impartial observer standpoint, this parity is phenomenal. Now, what gets interesting about all of that, you look at the games that we see coming up, and we have all 4 of these teams on the road laying points, and not short numbers. I mean, Cleveland, a 4-point favorite in the game tonight. Oklahoma City and the Celtics both laying 5.5 in their games, and the Timberwolves a 5-point favorite as they'll head up to the Bay Area. So it's a little bit of buyer beware. And you kind of want to trust what your eyes have told you more so the playoffs than what these teams have done with their full body of work. I can tell you there was a little bit of optimism about Cleveland's injury report looking healthier, and that's why professional bettors kind of got ahead of it, laying 1.5. Again, the Celtics, I mean, this is a team that built multiple 20-point leads, so 5.5 may seem a little bit of a value proposition, but you do wonder about that mental toughness for a team that just hasn't been able to make plays down the stretch against the Knicks team that remains undefeated on the road this postseason, but has struggled in front of their own fans at MSG.
I probably will lay the 5.5 tomorrow, but I do feel better in an 0-2 hold that the Celtics with the series adjusted price at minus 110. I mean, 89 games they've played this year, games 1 and 2 in this series, their worst shooting percentage of the year, and they lost by 1 and 2 points. Would you call me crazy for putting a nice wager on Celtics to still win this series?
I won't call you crazy at all. No, it's a little bit of an uphill battle for them, needing to win 4 out of the next 5, but the Celtics will be favored in every single game if they have their full complement of players. The one concern I do have about Boston and watching them, and of course hindsight always 2020, the status of Jaylen Brown, not his availability and his opportunity to be out there, but how effective he's been with a lower body that looks to be hobbled as he deals with that banged up knee. I think the Celtics, to your point, go out there, make a statement in Game 3, and for all intents and purposes, it could boil down to a pivotal Game 4 if Boston's able to even things up at 2 games apiece before taking it back home in Game 5, or if the Knicks can kind of get a stranglehold and go up 3-1. But we saw it a few years ago. The Celtics dug themselves a 3-0 hole against the Miami Heat, tried to fight valiantly back as a similarly priced favorite coming into that series, came up short in Game 7, but no doubt you'll get this team's best effort in Game 3 at Madison Square Garden tomorrow afternoon.
Could I actually bet the Celtics to win it in 6? Can you bet that kind of bet right now in Vegas?
Yep, you can bet an exact series result if you believe that the Celtics find a way to win this series 4-2. It's not anything that's going to make you independently wealthy. Only plus 360. The going rate there, which if you look at the 6 different scenarios and permutations, that is the second favorite on the board. The most likely outcome is the Celtics to win this series in 7 games, a shade less than 2-1.
Random prop possibly here. Is there anything out there that Belichick will not coach a game at UNC?
Saw some of the offshores hang a number on that about 10 days ago. That, of course, coming down before his girlfriend was banned from the team facility. Him to get through to get to week 1, he was right around a $3 favorite. Have not seen that betting market adjust, but you have to imagine as the world continues to evolve and the news cycle that we're in, those numbers would come down substantially at this point. But Lord only knows what the hell is transpiring down there in Chapel Hill. But a football program looking for a little stability, I'm not sure wanted to turn into a soap opera off the field like what they've seen so far.
Hey, listen, I saw the announcement that Manny Pacquiao is coming back to fight after being retired for 4 years, and it's actually for the welterweight championship against Mario Barrios. Any early number on this, and what do you think of Pacquiao at his age fighting still?
I mean, it just may speak to the overall health of boxing in general that Manny Pacquiao can take a 5-year sabbatical and have an opportunity to go out there and win a title fight. Have not seen a price on that, but look, we've seen it before from heavyweights, typically guys who can lean into it, whether it's George Foreman or some of the other aging guys. Manny Pacquiao was losing punching power when he retired the first time around, so you begin to wonder what exactly he's going to bring to the table now. And I think the bigger question, what kind of doping situation will we have going on and how stringent will the drug testing be? Because Manny Pacquiao, I can't imagine, is getting stronger in the twilight of his career as Father Time remains undefeated. But wild storyline, to say the least. I guess everyone wants to get out of politics, and if you're in that line of work, you want to hit somebody somewhere along the way and do so legally.
Was there any offshore on who the new pope would be? Obviously, Pope Leo from the U.S. ends up getting the job yesterday. Was that something that you saw people betting on?
So an interesting story on that. He was not originally listed on a lot of the offshore books as a viable candidate in terms of odds makers. The first price that I saw on him was 325 to 1, and he was a little bit of a late addition. I won't claim to know exactly what it takes to go through the papal process by any stretch, only from what the odds market tells me. That number ended up going from north of 300 as low as in that 50 to 55 to 1 range. There were some stories circulating about folks that had won on the prediction markets, whether it was Kalshi or Poly Market. So he was not one of the front runners in this particular betting jurisdiction. So definitely caught a lot of people by surprise, given how far down the odds board he was, even when he was added late in the game.
I did see one comedian joking that it's weird to, first American Pope ever. That was weird having somebody in that position that not only was a White Sox fan, but also could sing every word to the Applebee's Baby Back Ribs song commercial. And
it's pretty impressive, and not to be blasphemous, to make light of all of this, that a man that can watch his beloved White Sox win 41 games last year still actually believe in a higher power.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I did see this meme. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Time taken to get picked. New Pope 2 days. Shedeur Sanders 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Pretty impressive, and I have to imagine the new Pope much more humble than Shedeur Sanders
yeah, probably so.
in the eyes of the man above.
That is Todd Fuhrman. Check all of his stuff out. Right there at Bet the Board podcast, including his time of year. He really dials it in when the NASCAR circuit goes to tracks like Kansas this weekend. And was it Logano last weekend? Did you have Logano?
Did not. Texas is getting more and more difficult to bet as a one-groove racetrack. I actually did not have anything in the portfolio last week, but, Dunaway, I'm trying to keep up with you, who's had the hot hand on the track this season. Did bet uncharacteristically for me a favorite this early on this week. Took some Ryan Blaney in that 7.5 to 1 range. He should have an opportunity to qualify exceptionally well going out late, and he has arguably shown the most speed and the ability to pass at these 1.5-mile tracks. So while you look at his teammates, Joey Logano and Austin Cindric winning races, and even Josh Berry at the 1.5 in Las Vegas, I feel like we're working on borrowed time for the 12 car to find that first checkered flag. So Ryan Blaney for me at 7-1 this weekend at Kansas.
To me, it's tell me where he is on the board. I'm going to go Kyle Busch.
Look, if Kyle Busch can break that long winless streak, it'll pay quite handsomely. 35, 40 to 1-ish, kind of the going rate on the 8 car as he continues to be mired in mediocrity since making that move to RCR.
You heard it here first. Kyle Busch, my long shot play at Kansas this weekend. Fuhrman, thank you, man. I always appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure. And Dunaway, a little golf clap for you this week, my friend. I know I give you a hard time when you're sitting in that host chair, but you got me in on time and out earlier than expected. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these extra 5 minutes I have working at my disposal on this football or non-football Friday, I should say.
Well, truthfully, if you could tell me about our friends at Woodhouse, I would let you just do the read here, but we're going to let LT handle that. But Fuhrman, thank you for being with us, and we'll see you next week, my friend.
Always a pleasure, guys. Have a great weekend.
And that's Todd Fuhrman with us on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorney Hotline. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. We're about to get the 4 downs and our Bo Jangles tender moment, but tell us about our friends at Woodhouse.
Yeah, Woodhouse, what are we, less than 48 hours away from Mother's Day? If you have not gotten that gift for mom, easy way to do it. You don't even have to get out of your seat right now. Go to Woodhouse Day, Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You can order that special person gift online 24/7. Here's the great thing. Stuart and that great staff, they'll just shoot it over to you right away. So you can get it to mom. She's going to love it. Let her choose from a menu of over 70 options, including the waxing, nail services, skincare, body treatment, massages. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Stop in, see the great staff, tell them the next round sent you right there at the Summit Shopping Centers, or again, order gift cards online 24/7, Birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
All right, it's time for our Bojangles tender moment of the day. It is Bo time. Nothing better than the crunch you get from your first bite of Bo's chicken tender, except maybe the second bite right there. Bojangles' new, crispy, hand-breaded tenders. They're packed with flavor and perfect for dipping. They've been hand-breading their chicken since 1977. Try the Carolina Legends new crispy Bo's chicken tenders right now. It's Bo time. Here's our tender moment of the day. It comes from the PGA of America, LT. Ryder Cup coming up at Bethpage Black this fall, and the PGA of America is going to be showing up at public courses in the New York area, and they're going to hand out 3,000 free tickets to just your average municipal golfer, the person that plays the public courses. No sign up, no random, no purchase necessary. They're just going to show up at a course with a pair of tickets on random days and say, hey, man, you love golf, playing these public courses. Here's 2 tickets to go to the Ryder Cup coming up this fall.
Too bad that's not here in Birmingham, right?
Too bad it's not here in Birmingham.
Yeah,
I'd have a chance of getting one.
They would come across you or Brown.
Yeah.
There is no doubt about it. That is pretty neat. Never heard of anything like that before.
Yeah, so 3,000 free tickets to public golfers for the Ryder Cup. That's our Bojangles tender moment of the day. Try the Carolina Legends new crispy Bo's chicken tender. It's Bo time.
First down.
That gets us to our 4 downs today. LT has that for us here. Where are we going today? Is it all birthdays? Or
give me a second here. No, we've only got 1 birthday in there. Let's start here, just because we were talking about the next up 2-0. Next New York team to win a championship.
Yankees, and I saw Jason Stark writes this story. Best modern game right-handed hitter is Aaron Judge. He says he's better than Mays and DiMaggio. And listen to this fact. Since 2022, in a 400-game stretch, now he says non-asterisk record, 168 home runs. Now, McGuire and Sosa is the only people to beat that record of 450 game stretch of 168 home runs. But that 450 game stretch for Aaron Judge, I'd say Yankees. I don't know if you're trying to lure me in to say the Knicks.
I'm not. No, I'm not. The interesting thing, though, if the Knicks if they do win this series and Indiana holds on up 2-0, Knicks are going to have home court for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh, wow. I guess the Mets, if they somehow could beat the Dodgers in the NLCS.
I was going to go with the Mets. I mean, right now, the Mets would only be 2 games back of the Dodgers.
Rangers and Islanders, Knicks and Nets, Jets and Giants.
Yeah, you've already got Rangers, Islanders, out of the postseason. I would lean
Mets.
Like
baseball would be the next to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be basketball.
Yeah.
Second down.
So today is Memorial Lost Sock Day. How often do you lose socks when you get all your clothes out of the dryer? And do you have a strategy for this?
I do have a strategy. I'd love to know if anybody else does this. I keep a small little basket on top of in my closet. And when I end up folding my clothes and I come up with a singular sock, I throw it into that basket. And then the next time I end up with a singular sock, I throw it in that basket. And every time I throw singular socks in the basket, I empty the basket out on my bed and see if I have paired up singular socks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do the same thing. I've got a bag in a drawer that I put the singular sock because I've got this sounds so weird, but I put a lot into socks. There are certain socks that I wear, and there's only a few types of socks that I'll wear. But so 2 washes ago, got them out, only had one. I was like, damn, where is it? And then the next one it popped up, but I put it in the bag.
You know the most common place, Melton, they end up being?
Where is that, Jim?
They end up being in a pants leg or somewhere, and until you wear those pants again, you think you've lost it, but then sometimes it comes up.
I put some joggers on the other day because the temperature dropped to the 50s and found something in the joggers that I wouldn't have found until next fall.
Yeah.
I don't have problems with socks because they're so large. My socks are very large. They stand out like any other piece of clothing.
Well, it's like something you would hang on a mantle for Christmas, right?
That is correct.
Yes. Are we humble bragging here? Is that just all we're doing?
It's just the facts. Here we go.
Just the facts.
Third down.
Dylan Raiola, all of 20 years old today. If I asked you ultimately at the end of the year, more total touchdowns, Dylan Raiola or Jackson Arnold?
I'm going to say in my head, Nebraska and Auburn have about the same season.
Yep, I agree. I think they're both 8 or 9 win teams.
Yep. And I feel like Nebraska will be more defensive and Auburn will be more offensive. So I'm going to go Jackson Arnold. Barely.
I'm fascinated to see who actually is better. I think most people would say right now that Raiola's that guy because he started as a true freshman.
But he just doesn't have the players around him.
That's why I think Arnold's going to have really, really good receivers this year. So I'm going Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, I'll go Jackson Arnold, but closer than a lot of people think. I'm higher on Nebraska than some people are.
Fourth down.
Billy Joel, 76 years old. I am one of those. I have never liked Billy Joel. I don't even know if I can find a Billy Joel song I like. I respect him. He's been doing it forever. I did see the Billy Joel, the Shea night at Shea Stadium or whatever. I thought it was a really good documentary.
Italian Restaurant's my favorite song.
Scenes from an Italian Restaurant? Yeah. That's the best album Billy Joel's ever put out, in my opinion, The Stranger.
Are you a Billy Joel fan?
I like one album.
Okay.
The Stranger.
Yeah.
So Billy Joel, 76, better career, Billy Joel or Kirby Smart?
I'm going to go Kirby Smart already. Now, I know Billy Joel had a lot of hits and very much was it the 80s? It was a big...
Yeah, 80s were big when Christy Brinkley, the videos, Uptown Girl. But he's been doing it for 50 years.
I know. Yeah. We didn't start the fire and Uptown Girl. That was horrible music, in my opinion.
I agree.
Horrible music. I like his slower songs. Piano Man's Overplayed. Is that Billy Joel?
That is.
Scenes from an Italian Restaurant is the only song I like of his. And I like Kirby Smart a lot more because Kirby knows my name. So Kirby Smart.
I would say Billy Joel right now. I think Kirby needs to grab another 1 or 2 national championships. And again, I like Kirby a lot. Don't like Billy Joel. But I think Billy Joel's had the better career. What say you, Melton?
Billy Joel, I think, is the correct answer currently. But this has definite room to change. But Billy Joel is where I would go right now.
But right. I mean, did you ever consider Billy Joel to be top 5 in his industry? Because you do Kirby Smart.
I think some people have, though. You know, when Billy Joel did the tour with Elton John, I think they flipped back and forth who was headlining.
And I know this is kind of crazy to bring up, but when Olivia Rodrigo name-dropped Billy Joel, it introduced Billy Joel to an entire generation once again.
Never heard that.
Yeah. Olivia Rodrigo dropped Billy Joel's name in one of her big, huge songs, and it sort of re-energized a little bit of passion for Billy Joel there, too.
Vampire? Was it in Vampire?
It was not Vampire.
No, I think it was the one where they...
Driver's License.
Yeah, Driver's License.
Yeah.
What happened to Olivia Rodrigo, by the way? She blew up.
She's still blowing up.
Okay.
Yeah, she's still big.
Yeah. She does a lot of, not that Taylor Swift invented it, but she brings a lot of artists on now to collab with during her concerts, and that plays really, really big.
Didn't Taylor Swift jam her up for money?
They did have a little bout.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Little bout, because she early on wrote a couple of songs that Taylor seemed to think were
the white girl pop song. A lot of it sounds alike. I don't know if Taylor knows that. And by the way, Taylor stole a song.
Which one?
The Mazzy Star Fall Into You, or we've talked about this a long time ago. The one that sounds like Lover.
Lover.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, she stole one.
Lover.
1,000%.
Depends on which side of the street you walk on.
Supposedly the song Vampire, which is a diss track, was written about Taylor Swift. Supposedly.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it.
Yeah, Melton throwing knowledge today.
There you go.
She drops when she gets all bloody on stage. At least I don't know if she does every concert, but I've seen when she sings Vampire, she gets...
Damn, she goes Ozzy on us?
She gets a little Ozzy on us up there.
Not that extreme.
Boy, if she bit the head off of something, it'd be a little different, wouldn't it?
It would be. Is that 4?
That's 4.
4 downs today on the show. That's also being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Hot and cold. Tell us about Hemp Hill.
I was just talking to our friend Chad Rhodes. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Ask them about this incredible deal going on right now this spring. HVAC units, $1,000 off, plus 0% financing, whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business. They are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
All right. When we come back in the next segment, we will talk about the possibility of a guy like Chaney Johnson still playing basketball at Auburn. We'll talk about that date for St. John's in Alabama that's floating around out there and why it may not be a great thing. So a little college basketball. And then we'll go back to football. David Pollack asked the question yesterday on Twitter. The top rivalries we need back in college football, or the top games we need back on a regular or every year basis. That's still to come. And our friend Zach and Brad with the Village Vice at the Barn makes a great comparison about Jackson Arnold. That's still to come on the show. And will we ever see Jimbo Fisher again? That's still to come on the show. All that straight ahead. But one more thing in this segment. This is going to be hard for you to find, Tyler, but I gave it to you back on Monday. The celebration of Leeds United fans. All this was the promotion of Leeds United back up to the Premier League. They got demoted. Is that right? Is that what it's called, demoted? When you get sent down from the Premier League? Down. They got demoted to is it the Champions League, Tyler?
They were relegated down, and now they're promoted.
Okay, relegated is the word I was looking for. They got relegated, and now they're promoted back. And the scene for Leeds United was insanity. 150,000 plus fans to the streets just to celebrate moving back up from relegation, being promoted again to the Premier League. It was almost like, basically you're being promoted back to suck at the next level. And the celebration was like they won the championship. Go check it out online. Leeds United's celebration there was really, really tremendous. Speaking of relegation, Pittsburgh fired their baseball coach yesterday. Derek Shelton is out, 12-26 this year. He's been there 6 years. And we'll save the Rockies and White Sox hatred for when Forrester's back with us the next time he's with us. He's off today, by the way, Forrester is. Daughter getting a lot of big awards at senior day for her, and Brownie's on vacation. We've got another half of the show to go. That's being brought to you by our friends at New Life Art. Go and check out DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. The great works from one of the great sports artists of our generation. Promo code TNR. You go to that website, you can see all the great works. That's just a clip of a few of them. DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. Or you can check out The Legend and some of his more recent work. See it all right there and order something for Father's Day coming up or for the holidays when we swing back around. DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
As we all know, there's no off season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Okay, one thing is happening if it ends up being the date that is being reported for St. John's in Alabama that I hate. I hate about big-time basketball games. But let me tell you one thing that Brownie and LT has loved. That's our friends at A+, AlabamaBathRemodels.com. Brad Bell is the specialist there. He specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. If you're tired of that old, outdated bath or shower like Brown was and LT with some of his works, that's when he called Brad Bell with A+ Tile Home Remodeling, and they gave him an estimate that was so good, and the work is just fantastic. Brown raves about it all the time. If you ever go to his house, that ugly shower is gone, and LT's done some work in his kitchen. You can call Brad today or text Brad at this number, 205-422-1758. 422-1758. That's his personal cell phone number. You get his direct line straight to Brad, and he and his team, now serving Huntsville and Mobile, and of course the Birmingham area, will take care of you. If it's time to do some remodeling inside your house, go to AlabamaBathRemodels.com. That's AlabamaBathRemodels.com, or call Brad Bell, 205-422-1758. Our friends there at A+. All right, here's what I hate. John Rothstein is reporting, and I hope it's not true. He was doing this yesterday after we talked about St. John's in Alabama, but November 8th would be the date of that game at Madison Square Garden, if that ends up being the date, November 8th. I'd like it on the 7th. Heck, I'd even take it on the 9th. Problem with November the 8th, that's a Saturday. That's a college football Saturday. And usually a pretty big one. That's usually when Alabama LSU play.
I've got the games that are on that Saturday.
Yeah, it's a huge day usually.
Well, so you've got LSU Alabama. That would be probably your headlining game. You've also got, just jumping around, some other ones. Auburn plays Vandy that day on the road in Nashville. Oregon at Iowa. That could be an interesting game. Iowa always seems to steal one of those home games. Florida State and Clemson. Syracuse and Miami. BYU at Texas Tech could have some implications.
It could be for a Big 12 championship game spot.
Navy Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I know that might not sound like on the surface something really good.
Some people have Navy as the Group of 5 team this year in the playoffs.
So, I mean, not a great schedule, but still you're competing with college football. And, college football for me here, college basketball here, and
But it seems like that's a made-for-TV game.
I know.
Why would you make it for TV and then do it on a Saturday? That date can't be right. It's got to change.
But so I don't know how you feel. College basketball, and basically preseason, pre-conference college basketball, you never see big matchups outside of like the Jimmy V Classic, things like that, and some of these big tournaments on weeknights.
Well, we caught, it seems like one time we were at the Floribama.
It was Houston and Alabama, right?
Houston and Alabama, when was it college football that was going on?
It was Army-Navy.
Okay.
But that was
one game.
Yeah, a one-off.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different when you're talking about a full slate. I mean, even Alabama fans that are so excited about Nate Oats and where this basketball program is right now, LSU in Tuscaloosa, I don't even know where that is on their radar.
Yeah. The good news about the Rothstein report was that this is the first of 2 games. Yay, Alabama, the first to report this, but the first of 2 games. The return game would be in Birmingham next season. Not this season, but in the 26-27. So you get Rick Pitino and St. John's coming to Legacy in the return game the following year. So it's sort of a Madison Square Garden Legacy Arena home type thing.
Would still rather see that game in Tuscaloosa.
Me too. And if that November 8th date holds true, and I see no other reason than my complaint of it being on the college football that it's not going to hold true, because Rothstein is basically the Bible of basketball. That also is 5 days before Alabama plays host to Purdue. It is 11 days before Alabama goes to Chicago to play Illinois. They have a game here in Birmingham against Arizona. Sometime in that span, they're in the Players Era Tournament in Vegas, and they have a game with Yale. So Nate Oats is scheduling. What do you think of that?
I mean, you got to love it, and it hadn't backfired. It's not like, there are quality losses in college basketball when you're talking about quad one games.
And ironically, the team that ended up going to the Final Four 2 years ago now, that team did not win any of those big November games. They lost most of them.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
They still had a good seed, and inevitably it helped them when they got to March handle the NCAA tournament.
Well, I think it helps them get to their conference schedule because their conference schedule is more difficult than some of these out-of-conference games you're scheduling against top 25 teams.
Come on, man. Just move that game from November 8th to the 7th. And again, I will give up a Sunday night NFL football. I'll make that side TV if you make that November 9th.
That Friday night, you got a couple of good games in the Big 12, Houston and Central Florida. Yep. And then out of the American, you got Tulane and Memphis. So those are good, pretty good matchups Friday night. But put it on Friday night, I'd be all about watching it. But depending on where you put it on Saturday, it might not see a TV for me.
Yeah, that's the point. So we'll see if that ends up being the case there. The show today being brought to you by our wonderful friends at Lags. A great place to go out and grab a little lunch today, or now we're in the window for the weekend, LT, where you could catch a nice Lags Deluxe at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, pretty much whenever you want to eat Lags on the weekend, starting on Thursday, you can do it because they open at 6 a.m. and they don't close till 2 a.m. Basically, they sweep off that patio, they mop out the restaurant, and they're reopened. So whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, or late night, you work that second or third shift, get and see Eric Justin. Fantastic product, Lags Eatery. You might remember the name from years and years ago, decades ago, right there on Broadway in Homewood. They have brought it back, nostalgic brand Lags, the incredible chicken sandwiches, fantastic burgers, the tots, the fries, great selection of cold beer as well. Every Braves game out on that patio, happy hour. But stop in, tell them the guys from the Next Round sent you. It's located between Avondale and Cahaba Brewing, a stone's throw from Mom's Basement. It's Lags Eatery.
Because of injury, Devin Cambridge granted a 7th year. You may remember that name. He played at Auburn to start his career. He's 100% healthy. You say, how do you get 7 years? Well, you have your COVID year. And then the last 2 years, he's had 2 medical red shirts. He was good at Auburn, better at Arizona State. His best year, he averaged 9 points, 5 rebounds. But the last 2 years at Texas Tech, he hasn't been able to get on the court a lot because of those injuries, resulting in the 2 medical red shirts. So Devin Cambridge, 6'6" guy, 100% healthy now, getting a 7th year. I don't know if he'll get a shot in the SEC. Pitt is showing some interest. We'll see where Cambridge ends up. And if you're ever wondering about why 100 or so players with no eligibility left entered the NCAA basketball portal, we're starting to get word on that now. There's a lawsuit of some guys who played Division II basketball who are trying to get 1 year of eligibility for their time in D2, just like the JUCO guys got for their time in JUCO. The Diego Pavia, the rule that allows Chad Baker-Mazar to continue to play at USC, the former Auburn star. They're using the same legal philosophy to try to get more time of eligibility in college basketball. Chaney Johnson is one of those guys that could fall into that from his time there at UAH for the Auburn Tigers. There's no way this will be adjudicated in time to go through the process before the start of the next basketball season. The hope is, just like in the one that hasn't been ruled yet with Diego Pavia, is they get the temporary restraining order, which allows you to play another year while it's being adjudicated. That would be big for Auburn to get another year of Chaney Johnson.
Yeah, because, Chaney, when he came in, when, Janai would go down, had a couple of injuries, Chaney Johnson was great and, spelled him perfectly. We asked specifically about Chaney Johnson to Stephen Pearl a month or so ago. He didn't seem really optimistic with his answer.
No.
So you're right. I mean, the only thing you could possibly get is that injunction. Yeah. But if you're Auburn fans, keep the fingers crossed. I think ultimately it will happen, but I'm right there with you. I just don't know if it will happen in time for this season.
Back to college football we go, and we'll bring up one of our old former best topics, Jimbo Fisher, right after LT tells you about our friends at New York Butcher Shop, another one of our favorite things to talk about.
I talked to our man Jim yesterday, and he wants to remind you some big things coming up at the New York Butcher Shop. So what is 2 days away, Dunaway?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. So you can still order Mom great meal right there at our friends at the New York Butcher Shop. You can pick it up either location. The original location, Cava Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. But they've got meals prepared right there for Mom. You can stop and see Jim, that great staff today. They're going to hook you up. We've also got Memorial Day. They're taking pre-orders for that. I will give you more information. I cannot pull my menu right now. I don't know what's going on with it. But from steaks to ribs, pork, chicken, they've got it all right there. The incredible sides made in-house, fantastic selection of fine wines and desserts. Make this Mother's Day all about the New York Butcher Shop. Don't make her cook. Pick it up. They'll do it for you. You can cater it right there, or you can pick it up. You can cook it for Mom, but get it all. One of those 2 locations. Rare quality, well-done service from the New York Butcher Shop.
Connor O'Gara brought this to my attention, and I'd forgotten really Jimbo Fisher is not coaching, and I really hadn't thought about Jimbo in a while, but we're going into the second season without Jimbo Fisher. That $76 million settlement, and Connor makes the point, it looks like we'll never see Jimbo coach again. There were a lot of people that thought he would take a beat 1 year and then get back into the coaching cycle and be coaching somewhere this year. But never heard any rumblings about Jimbo Fisher wanting to get back in, and West Virginia was even open, and he wasn't really in the mix there. Do you think Jimbo Fisher ever coaches again? Connor O'Gara says it's starting to look like we may never see Jimbo again.
Well, we talked about these retread guys. We went through Bill Snyder and talked about him coming back to Kansas State. I think West Virginia fans would have rather have had Rich Rodriguez than Jimbo Fisher. Look, Jimbo's got his national championship. He's got tens of millions of dollars. I don't think we'll ever see him again. Now, I thought it was interesting last year he was doing on XM Sirius, Bobby Carpenter,
Jacob Hester,
and E.G. Manuel. Was doing their show, and it seemed like, maybe he just wants to stay a little bit in college football, or he wants to keep his name out there.
Right.
I think he's content not coaching. I just have a gut feeling that we will not see Jimbo Fisher back in coaching.
He got a lot more money than Gus Malzahn got, but as Connor points out, Gus Malzahn, until the Jimbo Fisher settlement, was the largest payout of any college football coach ever. And he went instantly to UCF. In fact, now Gus is coaching as a coordinator at Florida State. So Gus is still coaching where he really doesn't need the money. Jimbo times 3 that.
A little younger. He's got a lot more money. It seems like Gus still wanted to prove a point. I mean, look, Gus never got a national championship. Came really close against Jimbo, and Jimbo's won, ironically.
CBS Sports did the 15 worst coaching hires in the last 10 years.
Was Jimbo on there?
I'm going to ask you, do you think Jimbo's on there?
He should have been. I will never forget where we were, Upper Studios, Jocks, when everything went down. And it was interesting because the majority of people were like, this is A&M's guy. They're going to win a national championship. I just never saw it. I thought it was a generation. I think Jimbo Fisher is a really good coach. I never thought he was a great coach. Thought it was a generational player with Jameis Winston. Everything hit right. Give him credit. He recruited the guy. He signed the guy. He won a national championship with him. But I never thought Jimbo Fisher was worth the money at Texas A&M, and it played out like I thought it would play out.
Chris Ash, Rutgers, on the list.
Well, Rutgers' job shouldn't even be on the list, right?
Nick Rolovich, Washington State. Scott Frost, Nebraska.
Yes, that should be on the list. Frost back at UCF, where we talked. I didn't even bring up Frost. A couple of these guys that we're talking about right now going back, Rich Rodriguez, when we were talking about guys that have gone back and have they had success. I think Frost can at Central Florida.
I think he can too. I sort of like Rich Rod at West Virginia. Kevin Sumlin at Arizona, 12th of the 15 worst hires the last decade. Mel Tucker at Michigan State. Could be higher. Brian Harsin at Auburn.
Yeah, real quick, back to Mel Tucker. The hire was strange, but more strange was after one good season, you gave him that incredible extension. I think it was more the extension was bad.
Yeah, 11 wins in 2021, to your point. Brian Harsin, who never fit in at Auburn, was 10th on the list.
I get more wrong than right, but Harsin was another one of those guys I was like, did a B job at an A program, and now these fish out of water coming in. Never understood it.
Herm Edwards, 9th. Jimmy Lake, we waited for Jimmy Lake to get that job. He took over for Chris Peterson, right?
He did.
And Peterson really wanted Jimmy Lake.
He endorsed him, yeah.
Yeah. Mike Riley at Nebraska.
I still forget about that.
I hate this is on this list. But Jeff Collins at Georgia Tech, my buddy Jeff Collins, 6th on this list.
Wasn't Good tenure there.
I would tell you, though, he had to do a lot of grunt work that is helping Georgia Tech be good now. Jeremy Pruitt, 5th on this list at Tennessee.
Man, for a minute, I think Alabama fans all respect Jeremy Pruitt as a defensive coordinator. And, remember when they were going to halftime and he was like, what are you guys going to do in the second half? Well, we need to get the talent. We're not even close to being basically what he was saying to playing with the Alabamas of the world. At that moment, you felt like, hey, man, this guy's realistic. He's got it going in the right direction, and everything completely fell apart.
Willie Taggart at Florida State.
Such a small tenure, but yes.
Ryan Walters at Purdue, short run there as well.
I think he won 2 games.
Les Miles at Kansas.
That was awful.
And Chad Morris at Arkansas. Jimbo Fisher not on the list.
Yeah. Wow. Jimbo Fisher should be based on the fact that you gave him $75 million over 10 years, and you got one good year, and that was the COVID year.
Yep.
But Chad Morris probably will go down as the worst coach in SEC history.
Yeah. So when did Jimbo take over? Is that why he's not on the list? Is that out of the 10-year window? Because that would take you back to 2015. When did Jimbo get the job?
Jimbo got the job in 17 or 18, I think.
Okay. So he should have been in the window.
Should have been, yeah.
And surprisingly, CBS Sports, you can go read all the details of why they picked those guys, the 15 worst hires of college football. Developing story off of the story we started the show with, Pablo Torre's report that Jordan Hudson of North Carolina has been banned from the North Carolina facility. North Carolina has issued a release. That release after I tell you about our friends at Regions Tradition. We're out there next week. The Legends of Golf returning to Birmingham. It's the Regions Tradition presented by Coca-Cola at Greystone. Coming up next week, May 14th through the 18th. See some of golf's greatest names like Ernie Els, John Daly, and Stuart Sink compete for one of golf's most prestigious titles. 4 days of thrilling shots, unforgettable moments, and world-class golf, all in support of local charities. The Regions Tradition, as you see it right there on your screen, presented by Coca-Cola. Get your tickets right now at regionstradition.com, regionstradition.com, and we'll be out there on Wednesday. All right, developing news here, an update that comes your way from Taylor saw it bounce around on social media. This is from David Hell of ESPN. North Carolina issuing a statement. North Carolina says Jordan Hudson is welcome in the building. While Jordan Hudson is not an employee at the University of North Carolina Athletics, she is welcome to the Carolina football facilities. Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand outside of his responsibilities for Carolina football and the university. That official statement from North Carolina.
So welcome and allowed, two completely different things. Yep. I think she's maybe allowed now in the Carolina facilities. Why would this ever come out from the Belichick side of
the Belichick family?
Yeah, that she wasn't welcome.
Well, families can be split.
Would you not say that if this came out that maybe Belichick told Bubba Cunningham and the powers that be, hey, look, kick rocks. If you don't want it, then I can take off and we can really have an embarrassing situation in the middle of May, and you guys good luck finding somebody else to coach North Carolina.
So you think that maybe in the last 48 hours that Belichick has made a walk into the AD's office or made a phone call and said, hey, if she's not here, I'm not here?
I really do. I mean, based on the way things have played out over the last month, we never thought we would see this version of Belichick. He is a controlling guy, and if he was told your girlfriend can't come around, I think he would tell him to kick rocks.
Again, Pablo Torre reported, former ESPN reporter now with the Lebatard's group, that a family source had told him that the 24-year-old girlfriend had been banned from the North Carolina football facility after the CBS interview incident and a couple of other things along the way.
This Hard Knocks version would have been incredible. It would have been must-watch just because of this storyline.
And again, the Hard Knocks version didn't happen because, according to reports, she forced her way, wanted to be the executive producer of the project.
Let her be it.
The Hard Knocks folks said, no, thank you. And now North Carolina issuing an official statement now that the report that she is banned from the football facility is not true. Does that change your belief on whether or not he'll coach now in the first game?
I mean, I guess you would say that I think it's pretty obvious this is going to be a very uncomfortable, awkward situation and relationship moving forward. I can't think of anything that we can kind of analogize this with. Have you seen anything else?
No. What's going to be sad is I think it does make him look sort of sad that this is out there. You know, sort of I paint Bill Belichick in a very sad aura, sad light right now, because it does seem like this is embarrassing to him, whether he believes it or not. If they broke up and he doesn't handle the breakup very well, that would be the cherry on top. That would be very sad. If he's just like listening to love songs being played over the speaker at practice, yeah. Coach Belichick, you ready to break the stretches and start period one? No, let this song finish first.
Well, I'm going to tell him this is not going to end well for him. When she gets what she wants.
Is there any way this doesn't end well for her? I feel like she's a winner in this regardless of what happens.
Oh, yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Again, I'm predicting OnlyFans by Christmas.
A year ago, nobody knew who she was.
Nobody.
Yep. And now she's topics on CBS this morning and a official release from North Carolina on not being banned.
Have we had another situation where you've had, a figure of greatness that they bring somebody into their life, whether it was entertainment or sports? There's got to be another example of this.
I wasn't around for this, but how public was the rumor mill about Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe, President Kennedy and Monroe back in the day? Was that I
think that was just one of many, though.
I mean, we didn't have social media, and it was improper to gossip in media, and especially about the President of the United States back then. Is that something that is more openly spoken of now than was back when that was going on?
Yeah.
Allegedly?
Definitely different eras and stuff. I mean, I think of Anna Nicole Smith as being in the same vein of conversation.
I did see that that's going to be, if Jordan and Belichick last for another 20 years, that's going to be them.
Yeah.
But, he was an unknown. I guess she's an unknown. But Anna Nicole Smith, not nearly as big as Bill Belichick.
No. Just same sort of playbook here is being followed.
Yeah.
It feels
well,
like.
That's a playbook that's been followed for time, right?
Yeah. But it's all playing out right here in the public eye, and it doesn't look like it's going to go well. I don't know if anybody's buying stock in this being true love, but I think we're all just desperately hoping that there's no sex tape.
That is, I hate fall weddings. That's the fall wedding I want to see, though. Yeah, no sex tape, but I want to see the fall wedding where she talks him into actually getting married in their bye week. And instead of studying film for Virginia, he gets married, and then they get upset the next week.
Yeah, it's NC State week, rivalry time, North Carolina Duke or something. All right, when we come back, the guys at the Village Vice, part of the barnauburn.com, maybe a great success path for Jackson Arnold. They compare him to another Auburn quarterback. Found it interesting. I want your thoughts on that. And top rivalries that we miss on the football schedule, not necessarily traditional rivals, but games that we don't see anymore that used to be played annually you'd like to see pop back up on the schedule. And one former Ohio State quarterback, short time, making a comment about a rivalry game perceived by one side but not Ohio State. All that still come in a jam-packed half hour on the show that's being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services, LT. Tell us about those great folks.
Yeah, make sure that HVAC unit ready to keep up with this changing weather. It's about to get really hot here. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. HVAC units, $1,000 off right now. 0% financing on the HVAC units. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Hey, you. Days warming up, looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com. The latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, one more hour to go. This hour always brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. You're about to hear a conversation from the Village Vice about Jackson Arnold, a great place to sit around and enjoy great food and talk about the things that matter most with your friends in life. Is Champy's Chicken just on Highway 119 in Alabaster, just off Highway 119 in Alabaster. I mean, really, it's it's basically about 500 yards off Highway 31 on 119, so it's close to the interstate exit there. It's a destination lunch location, just great Southern comfort food. That chicken's brined overnight, cooked to order, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys. I love the appetizer that is the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. They got a wonderful cheese, pickle, and sausage plate to start off with. the handmade desserts, including the Mississippi mud pie right there. Great bar scene. It's all at champyschicken.com. Champyschicken.com. And Sterling and the crew right there has our friends at Champy's. Before we get to this bite right here, you think Jackson Arnold's going to have a pretty good season at Auburn, correct?
I do, yes.
Our buddy Zach Blackerby, Brad Law, Village Vice, the barnauburn.com had this discussion last night about Jackson Arnold and a path that a former Auburn Tiger took somewhere else.
Why can't Jackson Arnold do what Bo Nix did?
Flesh that out. What do you
Similar
mean?
pass,
Yep.
5-star guys. Everybody thought the world of these guys coming out of high school.
Yep.
Bo's situation at Auburn was better than Jackson's at Oklahoma. For sure. For sure. Was Bo's situation at Auburn great? No, it was not. And he said, you know what? It's time to go. You know, the fan base is treating me like crap, and I want to win a championship. I can't win a championship with Brian Harsin here. So he goes to Oregon, and he gets dang close. And he gets dang close to winning the Heisman. He didn't get more talented when he went to Oregon. He was already talented. He went to a place that could showcase his traits and his abilities, and also play with people that were also talented, that had traits and abilities. Jackson Arnold, Gatorade Player of the Year, 5-star. Everybody thought so highly of him. The storyline last year at SEC Media Days was how great Jackson Arnold's going to be. And then he didn't have any offensive linemen or receivers or any type of offensive scheme. Everyone's like, oh, you stink. And Jackson's like, no, I don't. I don't stink. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Hey, Coach Freeze.
Yeah.
You're good with quarterbacks, just not Peyton Thorne. I'm better than Peyton Thorne is. And you've got a ton of guys for me to throw to. Oh, you're going to go get Eric Singleton too? Oh, you're going to go get the best tackle in the portal as well as continue to develop these guys that were fine last year? Yeah, I'm all about it. Now, the biggest difference is Oregon was more established when Bo Nix went there than Auburn.
So that's Jackson Arnold and the discussion on Village Vice right there, thebarnauburn.com. You can see that show all the time. Can you see the type of path they're talking about? Bo Nix to Oregon, what Bo did at Oregon. Could Jackson Arnold be that on the reverse coming to Auburn?
Okay, so a couple of things. It's going to be interesting to see with this Ben Arbuckle offense how that's going to work. We've seen Will Stein's offense at Oregon, how good it is. The other thing is Jackson Arnold didn't have nearly the experience Bo had. You know, Jackson was a guy that started for part of a season, the majority of the season last year for Oklahoma, but I do think that you haven't seen his abilities yet because he's been actually handcuffed. He's had a hand tied behind his back. You didn't have a 600-yard rusher. You didn't have over a 350-yard receiver, which is crazy. I mean, you just didn't have any skill. And by the way, he was sacked every 7 dropbacks last year. He was sacked 34 times and, you know, not playing the entire season. So I just don't think he was ever given a fair shake. Now I think he's got a better offensive line. He's got better skill around him. And honestly, he's got a coaching staff that he didn't have last year.
That is interesting, your point that Bo Nix had played a lot of football before he went to Oregon. Jalen Hurts had played a lot of football before he went to Oklahoma. Dylan Gabriel had played a lot of football before he got to Oklahoma, and then before he got to Oregon, he'd played a lot of football. So these guys who have had success at their final stops before the NFL have played a lot of football before they got there. And Jackson Arnold hasn't done that yet.
Yeah, and I just wonder where Jackson's confidence is. I would think with resetting and recalibrating at a new location that it probably does help that. But you got to remember, this kid is only 20 years old. He can't even legally go into a bar and order a beer right now. So, I mean, how many quarterbacks back in the day, because we talk about these guys, and those are guys that played early. Jalen Hurts played early. Bo Nix played early. But Jackson Arnold, most kids weren't playing until they were 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
So he's still got a lot of football in front of him, and I think he is going to be one of the more improved quarterbacks in all of college football.
David asked a question in the chat room. Where does this Hugh is great with quarterbacks narrative come from? Do you have the answer to that?
Maybe it's more offense in general. I just thought his quarterbacks going back to, you know, the Bo Wallace's. Who was the other kid at Ole Miss that was really good?
It wasn't Snead, was it?
No. I mean, Snead was – no, that was before. That was Houston Nutt. Bo Wallace, Malik Willis.
Malik Willis is where he gets the rep.
At Liberty. But I thought Bo Wallace was better than advertised.
Yeah.
I mean, Bo Wallace that year at Ole Miss would start for half the SEC teams this year.
There was one more. It wasn't Bo Wallace that won the game at Bryant-Denny, right? Throwing it off the defender's helmet for a touchdown. That was a different guy.
That was because, oh, my gosh.
But that was the same period of time. That was one of Hugh's wins.
How am I forgetting this?
Chad Kelly.
Chad Kelly, yeah.
Chad Kelly. Thank you to the chat room.
Yeah,
Rusty,
Bo
Ross.
Wallace, Chad Kelly, Malik Willis. Those are good quarterbacks.
Yeah. Keith says it's because he beat Alabama twice. So you think those two quarterbacks are the ones that gives Hugh that reputation?
Yeah, and I do think Hugh's got the reputation because he beat Alabama twice.
Yeah.
I still think he's a really good coach. I could end up being wrong on this. And, look, he doesn't have a lot of time to prove this. I think he's on one of the hotter seats right now in college football. I mean, what does 7-5 do for Hugh Freeze this year?
Coin flip, I think.
Yeah.
Depends on who you can get to replace him.
Yeah, 6-6, I think he's out.
I do too.
Yeah.
Especially if he's in the Gasparilla Bowl, like the projections are from 24/7 Sports. All right, that gets us to our Shunnarah College Football Spotlight today.
The College Football Spotlight.
Hey, if you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. It's Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys, a national firm with its roots right here in Birmingham, Alabama for 24 years. And the mission from Alexander Shunnarah was to create a firm that could handle any issue that his community faced. All about the community. He has done that. Again, if you need a lawyer for anything, call Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorney, Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com there. Our spotlight today is a question that the great David Pollack asked on Twitter yesterday. What top games do we need back in college football? Some of them are rivalries, some of them are not. And Tony Barnhart quickly replied, Florida versus Auburn. There was a time that they played each other every year, and Auburn people really loved that game more than I knew back when it was happening on a regular basis. And when we went to divisions in 1992, that game went away on a regular basis. So I've got a couple of others other than Florida and Auburn. Number one on my list, LT, is not a rivalry game, but is one that absolutely should be played every year in my opinion. And they used to play it on the regular. Michigan and Notre Dame. That used to be an early September watershed game to start off the college football season. I wish that one happened every year.
I do too. And it seemed like the second week of September. Yep. What I don't get is Notre Dame's not afraid to schedule anyone. It doesn't seem like Michigan is. Why?
Yeah. I would imagine for Michigan, it became the expanding Big Ten schedule to 9 games and them wanting to get out of that footprint a little bit to try to do sort of the Notre Dame model. If you'll notice, Michigan, they played Alabama in that one-off game. They've got who was it last year? Was it Texas they had in Ann Arbor?
They had Texas in Ann Arbor. You look at Michigan's schedule this year, you've got Oklahoma on the road.
Yeah, Oklahoma. So it gives you a little bit more of a national footprint. But I love that Michigan-Notre Dame game. You saw Tony mention Auburn, Florida. Will Howard said something yesterday, by the way. He was asked about the Penn State-Ohio State rivalry and what it'll be like this year after his, by the way, 1 year as the Ohio State quarterback. He said, he grew up now wanting to be Penn State's quarterback, Will Howard did. But he said, listen, Penn State thinks Ohio State's their rival. Ohio State doesn't think Penn State's their rival. Penn State's not a rival for Ohio State. We were in that building. We talked about Michigan. We didn't talk about Penn State. Michigan's Ohio State's rival, and there really isn't another one.
I kind of agree.
Yeah, there are certain teams that it's a rivalry from one side and not the other.
Yeah.
But you think about Penn State, they sort of forced they sort of became part of the Big Ten. It's been over a quarter of a century now. But their natural rival is Pittsburgh and West Virginia, right? Was that the backyard brawl or was that Pitt and West Virginia?
That was Pitt and West Virginia.
Okay. So really it's Pittsburgh, and they don't play that game anymore. So I'd like to see Penn State actually have a rivalry game, a real rivalry game.
I do agree that it is a rivalry for Penn State, but it's not for Ohio State.
Yeah.
And Penn State always seems to be really close in that game, and they just can't kind of get over the hump.
It'll be interesting this year because both will be top 5 teams.
Yeah. To me, one that, I grew up in, it had such an implication on who was going to win the Big Eight, go to the Orange Bowl, possibly win a national championship, Oklahoma-Nebraska.
Oklahoma-Nebraska. They're going to start the basketball season against each other this year, and they just played a home-and-home, and it was really good. I think they were celebrating, 50 years of that big game or something?
Yeah, the George Rogers.
The George Rogers game.
I thought that was 71 or 72.
I think it was 70, 71.
I mean, it would be 75 if it's 50 years.
Yeah. So I think it was 71 because it led to the 72 Orange Bowl game where Alabama got their eyes beat out in that contest by Nebraska and Rogers.
I mean, if you're Oklahoma and you can play Michigan, I mean, maybe Oklahoma fans would rather see a game against Michigan than Nebraska. It was just something about those brands, and I think this year would be a tremendous game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Oklahoma, Nebraska, it was on my list to do it. Bedlam, we don't play it anymore. We got Texas and Texas A&M back. A couple others, I don't know why they don't play. I don't know how good it would have been for a long period of time.
We got Kansas, Missouri back.
Kansas, Missouri's back for a short period.
Yeah.
LSU, Tulane. It'd be a pretty decent game the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, especially with John Summerall and what he's doing right now with Tulane. Yeah. Probably a game LSU doesn't want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's no upside
they'd rather
for
have
LSU.
Freedom of scheduling. Final Four Troy says Oklahoma and Nebraska should be every year. He'd love to see Penn State, Miami. Keg of Nails pops up a lot. Morgan up in Louisville. That is Louisville and Cincinnati. They played from 1929 to 2022, and they really played for a keg of nails. And back to the building days of those riverboat towns there in Cincinnati and Louisville. A keg of nails. Some great games we don't get anymore because it's funny. We expand the schedule from 10 to 11, 11 to 12. But as we do that, we keep losing these games.
But, I don't know how you feel about the Holy War with BYU and Utah. And now, obviously, with the Big 12, you've got that. But it seemed like that might have been going away.
Yep, we get that back.
And I always thought that was a really fun game because didn't we have it on hiatus? Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, because they played in 19. They skipped 20. They played in 21. They skipped 22, 23.
Yeah. Watt said the reason Florida was so important, it was the start of Amen Corner, Florida, Georgia, Alabama on the old Auburn schedule. A great way to end it. Brad says Virginia Tech, West Virginia. Virginia Tech's rival is, for me,
it's Virginia.
It's Virginia, but for me, it was Miami when they were in the Big East.
Big East, oh yeah.
I mean, because that usually decided the Big East, right?
Yeah, we talked about that rivalry a couple of days ago, and how massive it used to be. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Virginia Tech and unfortunately for Virginia, that's the rivalry.
That's the rivalry there. All right, that's our spotlight today. Alexander Shunnarah's spotlight, brought to you by Alexander Shunnarah. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Shunnarah.com. We're getting ready not only for our 40 and 40 release coming up on Tuesday, but we'll also start counting down the college football season in a variety of different ways.
I know you don't want to let cat out of the bag. Can I ask you this one question about a potential number one?
Okay, I'll tell you what. You ask me any question you want, and I will give you – I'll try not to give it away, too much away, but I'll try to answer your question. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, does Georgia or Alabama – I'm not going to ask Alabama because you're going to have a diehard Alabama fan that would vote them number one. Have you seen Georgia at number one on anybody's poll?
Of the 28 votes I've counted so far, 28 ballots, there is not one Georgia or one Alabama number one.
That's pretty amazing when you think about where we are right now in this moment in 2025, because even if you just would have said Kalen DeBoer in his second season, coming off missing the playoff by, the slimmest of margins, and Georgia winning the SEC last year, then neither one of those teams get a first-place vote?
Yeah.
I didn't have either one of those teams in the top four.
I would tell you that it makes me proud of our viewers and our listeners when I count these votes, because I'm not sure you could go to another place on your radio dial or your TV.
Let's say we were in Nashville doing this. Do you think Tennessee would be a bad example?
If we were in Columbus, Ohio.
Well, let's say we were in Atlanta. I mean, would you have a bunch of Georgia?
I think you would have some Georgia. I just think our guys do a really good job, men and women, do a really good job of putting their bias aside and giving us a fair vote. Now, for a lot of the years, Alabama was high, but with good reason. They were high in the AP poll, too. And a lot of our ballots, Alabama's been all over the place.
Just one more. Any Notre Dames at number 1?
To date, no.
Okay.
But Notre Dame's been on every ballot I've counted so far.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure.
Been in the top 10 on every ballot I've counted so far.
Yeah, I mean, I really think now that Penn State's become that trendy team, you might see some Penn State. You don't have to answer any of these. I think it's going to come down to one of 3 teams. Ohio State, Oregon, or Texas is going to be 99% of people's number 1 team. One of those 3.
Of 28 votes.
Maybe Clemson in there, too.
Of 28 votes, you have 0 Oregon number 1s.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. But, I got 32 more to count this weekend.
I'm sitting here looking. We don't have – so Brown usually works our TVs. I used to know how to work our universal remote. But on TV3, we've got a shot above the Golden Gate Bridge.
Beautiful, though, isn't it?
It is, but just all I can think about is Clay Travis trying to swim that.
Yep. And that's a calm day on that water.
It is frenetic waters in the 50s, like zero shot. Zero shot.
Can I ask you, as we look at this, you can't see it, folks, but that bright color, the Golden Gate Bridge is painted? That's painted, right?
Spray painted, yeah.
How often do they have to repaint that?
They spray paint it every week. You didn't know that?
They don't spray paint it every week.
I don't know how long that would take. I mean, it took Spisto 2 weeks to paint my foyer. So I can't imagine how long it would take somebody to paint the Golden Gate and how much money that would cost. Like, paint is so freaking expensive now. And that's got to be the good paint, right?
I drove across it. I don't remember it being
that big,
that bright, and I don't remember the cables being colored like that either.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is where you don't have a low-flying aircraft that goes straight into that bridge.
Right.
So I think you got to have the brightness, and then obviously there's tons of lights on it. I've never been on the Golden Gate. I've never been to San Francisco.
You've never been to San Francisco?
No. That was the only reason I wanted to go with you guys to Santa Clara was to go to San Francisco.
I've been 3 times, once to wine country, and I cross the Golden Gate Bridge every time. I love it. I love it. Fly into San Francisco, across the Golden Gate Bridge, hang a Louis, and head out to Napa. That's what we did.
If 100 guys jump off the bridge, just jump and try to stick the landing.
A gorilla saves them?
No, I'm just saying, like, how many survive? Like, what would the survival rate be? And I'm not talking about, you take a header off of there, you got no shot.
So with no parachute?
Well, I'm just talking about jumping in and trying to, like, pencil.
Oh, I don't think you survived the fall.
I know most don't. I'm just saying, do you think, like, Melton Chime, what would the percentage be? I don't know the height of the Golden Gate Bridge. I know a lot of people die by jumping off of it, but I think the majority of people don't probably try to land on their feet.
I think it would be very low survivability there.
Yeah, I'd say 0 for 100.
You've seen The Fugitive, right?
Does he jump off? He jumped off the
Seemed
dam.
to not age well.
I think that's more difficult jump than the Golden Gate Bridge. Like, if you had to pick one of the two, you got to jump into those roaring waters of a dam, and it seems higher than the Golden Gate Bridge.
But The Fugitive's not a documentary. We can't classify it as, like, he definitely survived that.
I still forgive that scene every time I watch it.
Okay, so I'm going to read the chat. You tell me if you believe our audience or not. This is like the old Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And
by the way, as you do this, as you scale down and find out who you want to read from, a lot of people have survived the barrel over Niagara Falls.
Well, that's different.
I know it's different, but it still seems really difficult survival rate.
You're in a barrel first, and then the rolling motion. As I bring up,
try to break this down on the fly for us.
My 5th grade science, the rolling motion on top of the water, the buoyancy. If you miss a rock on impact, you've got a chance there. The problem when you jump off this bridge, I mean, it's basically you're jumping on into concrete. That's how hard the water will be at that distance, that height.
If you knock yourself unconscious, you're done for. You're going to drown.
Oh, I understand that. You're probably going to break every bone in your body.
And then you're done.
But I'm just saying, if you go in at the right angle.
How do you protect the cranium is the question.
I'll give you a helmet. Different game at that point?
That helps a little bit.
That definitely helps a little bit, but helmet and a life jacket changes things
I'll give you, what's the expanded, terrible-looking helmet? Not the Halo helmet. What is it called?
The Guardian.
The Guardian.
Yeah.
Guardian cap.
I give you a Guardian cap.
Yeah. That changes. That helps a little bit. The Golden Gate Bridge is not painted end-to-end every year or every few years, despite a common misconception. Instead, it is painted continuously with a focus on areas that are showing the most corrosion. True or not true, you believe?
I would believe that. I mean, the manpower it would take, the cost it would take.
The ongoing, and Nick adds, the ongoing maintenance ensures the bridge's longevity and structural integrity.
Man, I'm telling you, from the aerial views, it doesn't look that high, but 746 feet?
It doesn't look that high to you? It looks really high.
That's got to be the top, though, right?
Yeah, not from the road.
Oh, yeah. The clearance above the high water averages 220 feet.
That's still a lot.
Oh, it's a lot, yeah.
That's deeper than any point of Lake Martin, you guys tell me.
Yep, it is. It is.
I don't think so, but you guys continue to tell me that. Why is the Golden Gate Bridge red, though? That is a sort of a 49er red.
I would think, again, for aircraft, for helicopters, small planes. Is that not the reason why?
Oh, I don't know. Just the brightness of it all? I just think it looks good. Red is the best color.
Like your favorite color?
No, my favorite color is blue. I just think varieties of red is the best color.
Oh, here we go. Since the bridge opened in 1937, an estimated 2,000 people have survived the jump.
How many?
2,000.
Still not great numbers, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know how many have jumped, but here's a story about Kevin Hines had bipolar disorder, and I remember reading
Kevin
this
under the bus right here.
No, I remember reading the story. It was a massive story. I think we talked about it on Trash on the Table. Yeah, September 25th, 2000. Jumped off, survived it. Fell 220 feet at 75 miles per hour. They said the impact from the fall was like that to hitting concrete. The contact shattered 2 of his vertebrae. Doctors later told him he was only 2 millimeters away from severing his spine. He said he was in excruciating pain, struggled to the surface, felt a creature nudging at him. Thought it was a shark. It was a sea lion that helped him. I remember this story.
That saved him, yeah. Boy, animals love us a lot more than we love the animals. Dolphins will save people. Remember that dolphin that saved, what animal was it, the dolphin?
Okay, I will tell you this, though. There's a lot more animals that kill people than save people.
Well, with good reason. I'll look at how many we've killed.
Fair point, yeah.
I mean, you'd hold a grudge, too, if we were just lining you up and putting a bullet in your head and serving you for $68 at a local steakhouse.
When you put it that way.
Yeah. Jay says on Brown's favorite show, Aerial America, they talk about the survivors at times jumping off of the bridge.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised you've had that many people. But now I'm getting a contradiction here. Between 37 and 24, an estimated 2,000 people have jumped to their suicide.
Yeah.
So maybe he was the only one that survived?
So only a handful of survivors.
Yeah.
At this point, I would say if you jump off the bridge, we're not sending a rescue team. We're sending a recovery team.
Yeah. 40 million vehicles a year across the bridge. 40 million a year.
I would imagine, do you think on the list of terrorist threats in the U.S., that's one of the top 5, top 10 in America that they protect?
I'd put it outside the top 10.
Outside the top 10?
I would put it outside the top 10.
With that many people traveling across the bridge?
Yeah.
Like at any given time during, say, rush hour, how many humans do you think are on the bridge?
Tons.
Yeah.
But it's with terrorism, they like scaled down operations. They like box cutters and, traffic routes and that are open to pedestrians and that kind of stuff. Like I feel like taking some level out of the bridge is a much tougher task to coordinate if you're a terrorist, especially without a lot of supplies.
Golden Gate not damaged in the earthquake, right? It was the Bay Bridge that collapsed a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Man, That's crazy. They kept records of people jumping until 1995, the 997th jump.
They decided by keeping this record, we're making it.
I don't know. They said the most suicides in 1 month, August 2013, 10 people jumped.
There is a scene in X-Men 3: The Last Stand where Magneto moves the entire Golden Gate Bridge, which is pretty epic to see on the big screen.
Where does he move it to?
Alcatraz.
Oh.
How does it fit on Alcatraz?
He breaks it up in parts.
Oh, here we go. They've got the numbers. Fatality rate of jumping is 98%.
Yeah.
So not good odds.
Not good.
Yeah. Closer to the 100, which I would have put it at.
Okay, I'm getting out of that wormhole right there.
All right. We got trash when we come back. We'll talk a little baseball as well. And then a little bit more on the biggest story today in college football, Bill Belichick, which will lead perfectly into trash. The show today being brought to you by our friends at Lake Fest. Big weekend going on at Lake Fest. Underway today through Sunday, totally free to the public. If you're looking for something to do, get in the water. Go to the water. It's all weekend long, free to the public. Bama's biggest in-water boat show. 80 boats, vehicles on display as well. Lake lifestyle vendors, food trucks, beer garden, and live music all weekend long. Fireworks happening tonight. Hopefully the weather holds up as we honor our veterans tonight. Got the Mermaids and Mateys Parade on Saturday. Free mimosas for Mama on Sunday. Get all the details and the weather updates at LoganMartinLakefest.com. LoganMartinLakefest.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Birmingham's favorite lawn party is back. The Regions Tradition, presented by Coca-Cola, returns to Greystone May 14th through 18th. Watch golf's greatest legends and don't miss the star-studded Celebrity Pro-Am, featuring Nick Saban, Charles Barkley, Nate Oats, Hugh Freeze, and country star Riley Green. Soak up the sun at the White Claw Watering Hole and Casamigos Club. Enjoy the local food trucks and cap off the fun with Monsters of Yacht in concert Saturday following play. The Regions Tradition, presented by Coca-Cola. Get your tickets now.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Hey, you. Days warming up. Looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
I just got called a liar, Dunaway.
By who?
Don't like that. By Melton. Context real quick. I was asking Tyler and Melton if they've ever seen the Netflix original animated, I guess, anime, Castlevania. And Tyler's seen it, Melton hasn't. I said, you know, the interesting thing, it's the only game I've ever completed from start to finish. And Melton's like, I don't believe you.
I don't. I'm so sorry, but I don't believe you.
This is amazing. It's the only game, Dunaway, I've ever
it's
completed.
A video game, one
Nintendo.
of those stages. Okay.
You lost today with the iPad trying to get the TVs turned on. I don't believe that you beat one of the most difficult games of all time.
Okay, in fairness, Tim, that iPad never works.
Okay.
It decides when it wants to
Well,
work.
look, and I'm technically challenged. I feel very comfortable admitting that. Everyone knows that. But this was back in the 80s when it was a simple Nintendo console. You had one controller that, you know, you had your movement button and your axe throwing and whip button, and that was it.
Do you think you still have the skills to be able to prove yourself?
Yes, I think I could. So it's been 35 years since I did this. I think muscle memory could get me about halfway through the game right now, and I think within 2 or 3 weeks I could probably complete it.
Is it one of those that if you make it to a certain level and you can't get out of, say, level 8 to level 9, that you can start at level 8 again, and you keep doing level 8 until you get to 9?
See, I'm kind of remembering this as I think there was
have to go back to the
level that you drop in an elevator that drops you down to kind of the Dracula lair. I know this is really fun talk for the 99% of people that have never played Castlevania, but I'm telling you, I completed it, and I would not. There are certain things that I try not to lie anymore at all. There's white lies out there sprinkled here and there. But one thing I would never lie about is completing a video game.
Zach says, I mean, they make emulators with this game.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
That means it would be easy to get Lance a copy of this in the lobby and show off his skills to the rest of us during the meeting.
All right.
Now, the reason that Tim doesn't believe Lance is because Castlevania is considered to be one of the hardest games to complete ever made, even to this day.
So let me tell you, let me make sure it's the same one, though. This was the Simon's Quest Castlevania, for whatever that's worth.
I'll have to look further into that to see if that's maybe an easier version of the game that was more commercial.
Okay, here we go.
Symphony of the Night was the big one that was known as the hardest one. Okay. I don't know where Simon's Quest
This is Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, 1987 action role-playing game developed, published by Konami. Yeah, that's it. Yep, that's the one. So bring it on anytime you guys want.
Okay, we'll make it work. We'll make it a Meltdown special.
Yeah, that'll be really good. Michelson Laser Vision, that look back to LT's childhood from the 80s. Since then, his eyesight started to go bad until he met the Michelsons.
Right. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business, in my opinion. Make the phone call today. Ask for Amy, 205-969-8100. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have zero to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. The entire procedure took only 12 minutes for both eyes, 2015 2019 vision better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100 or michaelsonlaservision.com.
One change in college football scheduling yesterday on the FCS level, they now will be allowed to play 12 regular season games starting in 2026. Remember, their playoffs start Thanksgiving weekend. What that means, in my opinion, is that week 0 as we know it right now will be full of a lot of FCS games too now, as they're allowed to play an extra game in their schedule, but they still have to be over with by Thanksgiving Day. So look for some more FCS week 0s. Maybe the best time for their ratings to catch a North Dakota State playing somebody or South Dakota playing somebody, those type teams.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. So week 0 this year,
it's pretty bad.
I mean, Stanford, Hawaii, Kansas State, Iowa State, Fresno, Kansas, Sam Houston, Western Kentucky. You would watch any of those 4 over any of the other, though, right?
I don't know. North Dakota State versus whichever is the good South Dakota. That'd be a good showdown.
I actually don't think this outside of Sam Houston and Western Kentucky. I mean, Fresno, Kansas, Kansas State, Iowa State's a really good game.
Yeah,
and
Kansas State, Iowa State could be 2 top 25 teams.
Yeah, I mean, that could be your ultimate Big 12 winner.
Yeah, that's an interesting matchup there for college football. In the NFL, a little history yesterday. Houston, the Texans' Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, speaking of them, becomes the first second-round draft pick to get a fully guaranteed rookie contract, 4 years, $11.7 million. So he makes history as that guaranteed contract as a second-rounder. And then Carolina released Jadeveon Clowney, familiar name to everybody who's watching or listening to us. Is there still a market for Jadeveon Clowney in the NFL, you think?
I don't think there is, and I don't know how you view his career. You know, guys coming out like Vaughn Miller, Myles Garrett, ironically two Texas A&M guys, they seem to be can't misses, and they've been can't misses. They're Hall of Fame guys. But Jadeveon Clowney was never that Hall of Fame guy and, had that potential. And I thought as far as just raw, pure talent coming out, maybe one of the top 3, 4, 5 edge guys we've ever seen.
We've got a little developing news in recruiting. Not huge, but it is interesting. It's from the Hoover area, Hoover High School. We've got a commitment. Hayes Fawcett reporting that 4-star wide receiver Corey Barber has committed to Ole Miss. So he picks Ole Miss as his destination. In the running for Corey's services was Alabama, Georgia, and Miami. So today he picks up his verbal commitment, not signed yet, but the Hoover star is on his way to play for Lane Kiffin in Ole Miss. That's 4-star wide receiver Corey Barber there in that news. Champy's Chicken brings you this hour before we get to trashier Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go check that out. Sterling and the crew there with deep fried southern chicken, brined overnight, cooked to order, all the great sides. I really love the potato salad there. The baked beans are terrific. Mashed potatoes are good. Don't sleep on the po' boys, the shrimp po' boy, the chicken tender po' boy, top of the line. And, of course, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It's all right there. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Let's do trash.
Now, if that's too much, 12 different appetizers to choose from. I'm a fried dickle pickle man. I'm a fried dill pickle man.
LT's Trash is presented by Bud Light.
Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy, Lance.
Now, I know our first story, Forrester would say, hell no, but are we able to show video of this story? Because I saw the video a couple of days ago, and I'm blown away. First of all, fan was not immediately booted, and I am blown away that the employee actually still has a job. So here we go. Have you seen this video, by the way?
I haven't seen the video, but I do know there's a little side story to this.
Game day employee for the Pittsburgh Pirates has been suspended after getting into a fight with a fan at Sunday's game at PNC Park. Sources tell KDKA, by the way, first radio station in America, right? It started when the fan and his friend allegedly started harassing a woman who worked at a concession stand. Now, the game day employee intervened, sources say, diverting the two men away from the concession stand employee. Eventually, their exchange became heated. Game day employee is seen in video trying to walk away several times before the fan follows and continues taunting him until punches are thrown. Now, bystanders and other employees try to break up the fight, but within moments, fan is seen spitting on the game day employee, at which time, this is where it gets real, the employee takes off his belt and starts hitting the fan. Altercation was caught on video by a bystander. Pirates said in addition to the video, they are also reviewing security footage that shows even more. So in 2 weeks' time, you've had the worst fall maybe in Major League Baseball history, at least with a spectator hitting the field, the playing surface.
21 feet, Clemente wall.
We have had an employee take off his belt and whip a guy, and we've had their manager get fired.
Yeah. The way I read it,
I saw the whole thing. So
he stepped in because this guy was berating a female employee. And this employee stepped in and said, dude, you're not going to talk to the girl like that.
Yeah. Now, okay, and again, this is an easy thing to say after the fact. There's no video of that.
They say they have.
Okay.
We'll see on the security.
Could be
camera.
100%. But at this point, if you're this employee, you're doing the right thing, diverting them. But don't you call security when it starts to heat up? Shouldn't other people get involved?
And if he spits on you, what are you going to do to him?
Well, look, yeah. But, I mean, to premeditate and take your belt off,
yeah.
I'm just saying it's such a next level. That's why I think the Pirates probably should get rid of this dude. I think it's an unfortunate situation. The fan should have been tossed immediately.
Dave says the employee should be given a raise. Jay says should have gotten a raise.
He used the belt because he was inspired by Castlevania.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
But, I mean, if you – just because you're the customer and you're supposed to always be right.
That's not true.
You can't. You
got to defend yourself. I'm just saying.
Well, he was defending the lady first, according to reports. And then when he stepped in, this guy started – and then he tried to walk away, and then the fan followed him.
Oh, I saw the entire video.
Yeah.
Look – the fan started the entire thing. And again, I don't know about the female being involved. That's what the word on the street is right now. And we'll see if there's more video that comes out. I mean, Pittsburgh needs to get better security at PNC. But the only thing that was over the top to me was the fact that he pulled the belt off. I thought it was hilarious. But really bad look for Pittsburgh.
Daniel says belt over gun is honestly refreshing in any fight story in America nowadays.
Yeah, but it's going to be really difficult for a Pirates employee to pull out a gun game day.
Yep.
So we'll see how that thing plays out.
Yeah.
So a nurse has been accused of shoving cheesy nachos down the leggings of her wife during a 3 a.m. domestic battery dispute, according to police. Investigators say the 40-year-old victim was, quote, making nachos with nacho cheese in the kitchen when her spouse, Allison Swan, 39, said, quote, you shouldn't be eating this late. You're overweight.
Yeah. So let me guess, she started stuffing it down her leggings to say this is going to go right to your thighs. So let me just go ahead and put them there for you.
During the argument that ensued, Swan, who had been playing video games in the living room, no discussion on what game was played, walked over to her spouse and, quote, grabbed a handful of the cheesy nachos, shoved them down the back of the victim's leggings. Now, when the victim, who was also a registered nurse, sought to change her clothes, Swan allegedly dragged her to the floor, shoved her fingers into either side of her mouth, and hooked them like a fish. Allison then continued to batter her by grabbing her head, slamming it into the floor multiple times.
Okay, that's battery.
Yeah. During the confrontation, the victim told police Swan made several comments that she was the one in charge and that her wife was not behaving properly. Friend of the victim called 911 to report hearing via an open phone line Swan striking her spouse. When police responded to the couple's home on Saturday morning, Swan denied that a physical altercation occurred. She claimed that her wife had been, quote, in a drunken rage and had thrown the plate of nachos and rolled around and covered herself in nacho cheese. However,
some people call that foreplay.
Examination of the victim's leggings revealed what appeared to be nacho cheese on the interior backside, consistent with her story. Substance resembling nacho cheese was found smeared on the wall. The victim also had a knot on her forehead and a scratch on her right arm. The cops also found the ceramic plate that the nachos were prepared on was completely intact. That's when they arrested the other for domestic battery.
Yeah, Brad makes a great point. You don't see the fish hook much anymore since the 1990s WWF. You just get a fish hook a lot in wrestling back in the day. Don't do that much anymore.
Do you think they make up nicely, or you think they're done?
I think they end up still together.
I do too. That's the way it normally goes, right?
Yeah.
Probably going to keep nachos off the menu, though, for all those future dinners together.
Just trying to help her out, though. I mean, it is bad to eat after midnight while we're gaming in leggings. 2 nurses. I mean, ironically, I think I would write this for
How
Cinemax.
often do you think, and I know it's very politically incorrect, but how often do you think a partner says to the other, you don't need to be eating that, you're fat?
I think it happens. I'm going to put that at 48% of the time.
Okay. Wow, that's a high number.
That's high.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's a loving thing. Like, let's say 206-pound Jim, not GYM, but JIM. If I'm all of a sudden I'm making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at midnight, I mean, Maggie could have said, do you really think you need to be eating that now? You're a little overweight. You're not exercising.
So you're saying she maybe said this?
I'm just saying it would be in a loving way.
Peanut butter and jelly, though, that doesn't seem slobbish or anything. That seems
at midnight. That is nothing but calories you're not going to burn off.
I had one last Saturday night around midnight.
Yeah.
quick to put together.
I mean, if I had leggings on, I mean, you could just stuff that right on my belly right there and
this
say
is
it's
how
gonna go
mature
right there.
I have gotten, or how immature I've gotten. I was like, do I want an IPA or a peanut butter and jelly? And I went with the peanut butter and jelly. Glass of milk. Midnight on Saturday. Never thought I would see that.
If Elvis had just stuck to the peanut butter and jellies, he'd still be with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, would you say...
Everyone's saying out, Krusty says I would lose on card shocks. My percentages are always way too high. 48%.
Yeah.
That's high.
Too high.
That's way too high. Chat GPT. There's benefits, right? Can help you out.
Yeah.
Certain things.
Yeah.
This one's pretty amazing. In a bizarre mix of old traditions and cutting-edge tech, Greek woman has reportedly filed for divorce after asking Chat GPT to read her husband's Greek coffee cup and receiving an answer she took very seriously. Now, the woman, married for 12 years and mother of 2, turned to the AI chatbot developed by OpenAI, asking it to interpret the coffee grounds in a photo of her husband's cup. Modern twist on the age-old art of tasseography?
No idea on this one, Lance.
Anyway, the result, ChatGPT allegedly told her that her husband was having an affair with a younger woman who was determined to tear their family apart.
Which probably happens about 48% of the time.
Taking the AI's mystical reading at face value, she immediately initiated divorce proceedings. Appearing on the Greek morning show To Prono, the bewildered husband recounted the incident. Quote, she's often into trendy things. One day she made us Greek coffee and thought it would be fun to take pictures of the cups and have ChatGPT read them. The result, according to the chatbot, his cup revealed a mysterious woman with the initial E that he was supposedly fantasizing about and with whom he was destined to begin a relationship. His wife cup, on the other hand, painted a much darker picture that he was already cheating and the other woman wanted to destroy their home. Husband wanted to say I laughed it off as nonsense. She took it seriously, asked me to leave, told our kids we were getting a divorce. Then I got a call from the lawyer. That's when I realized it wasn't just a phase. When he refused to agree on a mutual separation, he was formally served with divorce papers just 3 days later. Husband also noted that it wasn't the first time his wife had fallen under the spell of supernatural guidance. He said a few years ago she visited an astrologer. Took her a whole year to accept that none of it was real.
She sounds a little
off her rocker.
Yeah, I'd say about 82% crazy there. And, I mean, just off of the Greek tea leaves. Now, unless he's been texting somebody whose letter starts with an E or something like that, and there's a history there between E and him.
Would that be amazing if ChatGPT could actually pull something like that
like
out?
if he walked out of the room, if he went, dang.
You think there's
nailed it?
You think there's a lot of women when they hear this story now? Hey, let's get ChatGPT involved.
But I mean, is there a chance that through on the cloud through his social media, his texting and
that
stuff,
AI picked up on this?
That AI picked up on this and outed him?
AI. I mean, we are entering a different phase of humanity.
I don't
here,
like it.
I was reading a story last night. There was a sentencing hearing in a murder conviction where they had the victim that was killed present in the final sentencing like a message to the person that had been convicted of killing them. And I found that was very strange to be in court, but that happened. Yeah.
Wait, and they
allowed it?
They allowed it.
How?
I guess it's such a gray area, such a new thing. It was like an insane thing, but like.
So it had to be objected though, right? Overruled. I want to hear from the dead.
It was in the sentencing. The conviction had already happened, and like everybody gets a chance to speak, and they played a video, and it was like,
I really
it was
think
AI generated. It wasn't like the guy recorded it. Okay.
Yeah, the guy died in like 2021.
The demise of civilization is going to be man-made. I don't know if it is going to be the virus that I predicted, or if it's now going to be AI. Sooner than
Everybody,
later.
hold on. Buckle your seatbelts.
I saw a video of this, too. This is pretty crazy. So don't be this driver. That is the disclaimer we're going to throw out.
Okay.
Ohio Department of Transportation shared video showing what to do, what not to do when or if you miss your exit on a busy interstate. On Friday, we were talking about if you go, if you get in that 1 mile, you got to get over sooner than later. This guy waited a little bit.
No, I mean, that is the worst thing you do is stopping. Oh, no.
I think what he looked at is if I don't make this exit, look at the traffic on the other side. My ass ain't never getting there.
Yeah. But now he's just going to drive away?
Yeah, you see ODOT's traffic cam video if you're watching us right here. Cars are seen traveling down Interstate 71. Everything looked like business as usual. However, the red vehicle seen stopping abruptly just after missing that past exit. Several other vehicles stopped in time as the red vehicle continued to sit there. However, one van didn't react quickly enough, crashed into the stopped vehicles, causing a chain reaction.
Wow.
ODOT shared the video as a reminder of what to avoid when and if drivers miss their intended exit. They give the advice when you are driving along a major interstate, you miss your exit, do either A, keep driving, get off at the next one, which he saw the traffic backed up, wasn't going to do that. B, come to a complete stop, cause a multi-car rear-end crash, and then drive away. They went on to say, hint, never answer B. Always go A.
Yeah. Listen,
so,
if I was that...
news, no life-threatening injuries, though, according to this.
Can we let it reset again? I want to see it from the beginning again. If I'm the gray van that plows into everybody here at the end, I don't let him roll away at this point. Because as I'm coming to a stop right beside him, ready, crash, now, boom, and I'm that gray silver van right here, I just go ahead and plow him in the side and make sure they're staying for the accident report.
I have got a feeling the guy in the gray van was doing something else than looking in front of him, probably texting.
I'd have gone on and just tapped it, the accelerator one more time to make sure he was hanging around for the police report. That sucks, man.
That is all I got for you.
All right, that is Trash Today, and the show brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, and we appreciate you guys sitting back and enjoying that. The Lake Fest happening this weekend. I hate that it's not perfectly sunny all the time on the forecast this weekend, but I'm telling you, it called for rain yesterday pretty heavily in our area.
And you were poolside with tequila.
For about 4 hours, the weather was perfect yesterday. So just because the forecast this time of the year may call for something, don't not keep Lake Fest in your plans this weekend.
Yeah,
it's such a great event.
Checking the weather again. It is a coin flip this time of year, so you never know.
Yeah, so don't not get out there for that. Baseball news. The Rockies. We talked about Auburn with their big win. They got a doubleheader today with South Carolina. The SEC so good. We'll be at the Hoover Met coming up in a couple of weeks for that. But in Major League Baseball, the Rockies are on pace right now, not only to have more losses than the White Sox had last year, which was a record, but they're on pace to set the run differential record. They're at minus 110 right now in run differential. They're on pace to be minus 477 in run differential when the season is done. The record not set by last year's White Sox. They lost a lot of close games. The record was set by the 1932 Red Sox, and their record is minus 345 in run differential. The Rockies are on pace for minus 477.
Yeah, not quite 4 runs a game, but getting up there. And, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago with how bad the Rockies' start was. And when you play money lines in baseball, you can play the regular money line or you can play a run line. And the run line is always minus 1.5 or plus 1.5. And when you start playing run lines in baseball, you realize how many one-run games there are. Not Rockies. They lose big. 6-31, already 18.5 games back, and we're not even to the middle of May.
Taylor, who will put together all the great graphics for our 40 and 40, which starts on Tuesday coming up, put out a college football graphic this week about the last time your favorite SEC team had a double-digit winning season. Now, this includes a bowl game, any postseason. The last time a double-digit win season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams did it last year in the SEC, 10 wins or more.
Okay.
Texas, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee, and Missouri. And I don't know if you have that graphic, if I send it to you, Tyler, to pump up or not. But Texas, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee, and Missouri. In 2023, 3 other schools, Alabama, LSU, and Oklahoma had one. So already you're at 8 of the 16. Nobody in 2022, well, there were, but no new people in 2022. Kentucky last did it in 2021. Florida hasn't done it since 2019. 2017.
By the way, I'm just guessing that every team outside of Vanderbilt has done it in the last 10 years.
2017 for Auburn, 2014 for Mississippi State, 2013 for South Carolina, Manziel and A&M in 2012, Bobby Petrino in Arkansas at 2011, and then there's Vandy, who has never done it. Vandy's never had 10 wins or more. A couple of times 9 wins. James Franklin had them at 9.
Yeah, I don't think the Vanderbilt's surprising. I mean, the embarrassing ones here are obviously in 2011, Bobby Petrino was your head coach before the motorcycle accident the last time for Arkansas. And then Texas A&M, you know, I think people were blown away how good they were in 12, their first year in the conference, but to never do it again with all the resources they've got. And then I got to be honest. I mean, would you agree that Auburn and Florida, I mean, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Since
2017 and 2019 for those programs?
Florida did it with Dan Mullen, and then Auburn last time they did it was Gus Malzahn. And it was one of our was it our guest or one of our people in our chat room that said I was the guy. It was Josh Pate. I was the guy. No, it wasn't Josh Pate. Somebody said I didn't think they should get rid of Gus Malzahn. And here we are still this time later, and Gus Malzahn still is the guy that had the most recent success at Auburn. Think about that Hugh for 2 years, nothing really. Harsin for 2 years, nothing. Your last success was under Gus Malzahn, and you're 2 coaches removed now.
Yeah, I don't know. And, and by the way, we need a welfare check on Jeff.
Jeff from Aniston?
Yeah, we haven't heard from Jeff from Aniston, but, years ago he brought up that stat, and it still holds true. Auburn has not had back-to-back 10-win seasons since 1988. That is crazy.
Maybe they can at least get one this year with Jackson Arnold at quarterback, something we discussed a little bit earlier on the show. You can go back and watch it anytime, or you can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and Google Podcasts. It's our podcast platform, and remember, it helps us out tremendously when you like, follow, subscribe, and turn on the automatic downloads there at Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or Google Podcasts. We thank you for that, and we appreciate all you do for us. We hope you have a great weekend. We're back with you on Monday at 9 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget a live meltdown today at 2. Until next time, God bless you, and God bless America.